Welcome, folks. 641 of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse headed your way. And I found out, or actually still are, a proud member of the Sports Social Network. I hadn't heard that intro on there for a while. It said shit. Sorry, Sports Social Network. You can catch us here every Sunday at 8 o'clock in the UK, 12 o'clock Pacific time in the United States, all time zones in between, and on the auxiliaries and all that good shit. If you're in the middle of the ocean, you can still find the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse. And with us today, we got Des, we got Justin. Rob should be in with us later. We're here to talk some Riyadh season action in a card that actually, for the most part, I thought delivered. I thought it was enjoyable. I was wrong on just about everything, but it's all good because I was entertained. One of the things I was close to the outcome on was Benavidez over Yarde. The freight train that he is, man, or steam engine, whatever you want to call it, like just picking up speed, and then as soon as Benavidez is going down the tracks, you can't stop him. You can't let him get that momentum. Yarde did let himself get backed into the ropes where Benavidez just unleashes those fast combinations, and then the seventh round had him up against the ropes. He put him down. Apparently hit him after he touched down, and then the goddamn referee deducted 2 points from Benavidez, so he's actually at risk of being disqualified. And I don't know if enough people caught that when that happened. He comes back in, gets Yarde backed up again about 20 seconds later, and just has this nice left. I don't know, a little bit uppercut, a little bit hook, kind of that 45 action. And he just separated Yarde from his consciousness, and that was all she wrote. However, forms from Benavidez. We will get into what his future plans look like later. But Des, why don't you give us your thoughts on this performance from Benavidez? And once again, Yarde just doesn't have it at the top level. He sure tries, but he's somewhere below.
I don't think there's any shocks and surprises with that one. I think we all knew Benavidez was going to beat Yarde because Yarde's got no form to call on. We've seen him fight an older version of Kovalev out in Russia, and we've seen him take on a peak Beterbiev. That doesn't qualify you for beating a Benavidez. And unfortunately, Yarde's that guy that is best known for his losses. It's been said a few times. There's a couple of things about this one, and they're two mutually exclusive things because I don't think one would have helped the other. The fact is, I don't think Yarde made the weight right. Coming in at 173.9 tells me they've got the weight wrong. Now, there'll be a lot of people in boxing, there'll be a lot of people watching that and say, well, he's done the weight well. If you're coming over a pound under, you've done the weight wrong. Yarde is a very solid, compact, 6-foot muscle kid. He walks around Ilford at about 14 and a half stone, looks amazing. So to squeeze that into a 12 stone frame is very, very difficult. They had a 16-week camp and he's not overly active. And I just think what we saw last night was a kid that's had a long training camp, probably too long, not been active enough. And I think they crashed the weight. They got it wrong. And that explains why Yarde couldn't push Benavidez back. He couldn't get any meat on his shots. They had no poke. It was almost like it was one of those tippy-tappy pad sessions we see him and Tundi do. That's what he was doing last night with David Benavidez, and that's the wrong kid to do it against. David Benavidez isn't your usual anti-Yarde opponent. He's not someone that, on their best day wins an area belt. And that's what we've had with Yarde. It's from one extreme to the other. All that said, no version of Anthony Yarde that we've ever seen beats this version of David Benavidez. Anthony Yarde's not that guy. So, but I just wanted to make the point. I think what we saw last night was a fighter who'd done the weight wrong and has probably spent a long time, a career at 12 and a half stone, 175 pounds. And that's an awful lot for him to keep doing. And he's not overly active and he doesn't box at an incredibly high level. Now, you said just then that he's the guy that's just not good enough at world level. Yarde's never won a British title. Yarde's never been near a European title. So, guys like me, we've been saying this for a long time about Anthony Yarde. How good is he? And when does he ever get going? But you could say that he accounted for himself very well against Beterbiev, and he did. But Beterbiev's that guy that forces you to throw punches. He forces you to fight and react. But he sets traps because that's what he wants you to do. On the fight itself, I see probably more in Benavidez. You know, I spotted things last night that suggest to me that he'd really struggle with a Bivol. But back to Yarde, I thought Yarde struggled with the size, the pace, the tempo. Benavidez worked out very early that I can let my hands go and I ain't got to respect his power tonight. And he did. And after about round 3, I felt Yarde was sort of in a little bit of, I'm not saying survival, but he was in a bluffers mode. He was trying to get through the rounds and look a little bit polished. And I see him do that against Lyndon Arthur. I'm trying to get through these rounds and maybe the next round will be better than this one. Against Lyndon Arthur, that did happen. He was a fitter of the two in the championship rounds, but you're not going to do that against kids like David Benavidez, kids at the top end of the division, kids that are trying to become 2-weight and 3-weight world champions. I like Benavidez's punches. I like the way he puts his hands together. I like the way he presses. He shuts you down. But I think he understood very early that Yarde didn't have a lot behind his punches. Yarde's feet weren't particularly very quick. It wasn't a nice fight to watch if you're a British boxing fan. It wasn't particularly a nice fight to watch if you're someone that gets behind Anthony Yarde because he looked a shell of himself. And when I say that, we've never seen Anthony Yarde win at this level. We've never seen him win at the level below this or below that. But he still didn't have the traits of someone that had come to win. And I think Benavidez felt this is a lot easier than I thought it would be. And they would have known about Anthony Yarde. They wouldn't have had a huge high expectation of him. But the work Benavidez was doing last night tells me that either after the first 3 minutes or 6 minutes, he knew he could get to Yarde and he knew he had nothing coming back. And it was a very marauding, swarming, confident, positive performance. What I did see last night was his punches weren't that crisp. He can sometimes smother his own work. And if he ever is to fight Bivol, it would be really interesting to see how he deals with Bivol's very good feet, judging of distance, and that very good jab Bivol's got. And we know that if Bivol is put in a tight space, he can fight his way out of it. So what I saw last night from Benavidez is a good performance against Anthony Yarde, but I'm not quite sure that would be enough against Dimitri Bivol.
No, I don't think you can compare one off of the other on that one. And unfortunately, Yarde, here's the thing, Justin. I'll tell you what. Like sometimes you watch a fight and you see a fighter switch stances because they're having a little bit of trouble, like figuring the guy out and things, trying to find a different look, see if they can open something up. Benavidez was having such an easy time with Yarde in there. I think he went southpaw at times just to play around with it a little bit. I think he had that fight really in his pocket by the second round, and he was just absolutely, this is a case, Justin, of a fighter doing absolutely whatever they wanted in the fight.
Yeah.
He was free and clear to go about his business however he so chose.
Well, we've said before, Yarde, he looks like he should be able to knock your head off, but he can't. He just doesn't have that power. He just doesn't have it.
He stings, right, but he's not concussive.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to just lay you out. And Yarde tries. He just doesn't have. Still don't think he has a great corner. He doesn't have the boxing knowledge. He just doesn't. But I think more than anything out of this fight, we all knew Yarde was going to lose. So I mean, this is not the big talking point. The big talking point is that Benavidez looked like a fucking guy that had been sick for 3 months. He looked awful. Like you see his face and his body and just the skin was hanging.
He really didn't have any definition, did he?
No,
and he was still fast and lit him up. And
he looked jaunt. I'm telling you, he's going to be going up soon. He can't hang around at once because I think he's having a horrible time crashing this weight too. Because once, and that's going to get him 168. We know he was killing himself to get to 168, murdering his body to get that damn low. And now at 175, just by the look of his face and the way he just come into the ring, yeah, he still has it. But how many times is he going to be able to keep doing that? There's no way that we're going to say one day it caught up to him. It's going to happen. Yarde is not the guy that's going to do that. Beterbiev, Bivol, those are the guys that will expose the weight cut and the fact that I don't think he lives the life at all. I want to say that the way his body looked, Benavidez is probably carrying around 230, 240 pounds, probably his regular weight when he's just walking around, because he looked it. That was my take for the whole fight, was just looking at Benavidez thinking, my God, he looks like shit. He looks like a damn somebody that just, like I said, was really sick and lost all this weight and just was trying to get back healthy again. I mean, that was my take from it. I never thought Yarde had a shot to win this fight. Yarde seems like a good dude. He tries. I think he stayed with that Tunde dude way too long. I think he should, if he was going to make a move in his career as far as trying to do better or trying to make a change, it's too late now. He should have done that a long time ago. He's kind of stuck where he is right now.
Loyalty, man. It's
too much loyalty in his part. Tunde didn't deserve his loyalty for the. I mean, maybe yes. Sometimes just because your guy's your buddy doesn't mean you should make him your trainer forever and fuck everybody else over. But Benavidez moved on. He's going to have to fight. He won't fight Beterbiev or Bivol next. That's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. There's not a ton of depth. There's some decent guys, but he's already beat Morrell. And I think Morrell's like in the top 5 or top 6, the light heavyweight. You've got that Venezuelan guy. I can't remember his name now. Ramirez, Costa, something. I think he's like 22-0. I mean, would he even make any money off of that guy? I don't even think if it wasn't for the Saudi card, he wouldn't have made no money off of this.
I think that's exactly what he's saying. And from the sounds of it, Bivol and Beterbiev want to get a trilogy between them. So what does that force Benavidez to do? So what is Benavidez forced to do? Well, last night they said he's going up to cruiserweight on Cinco de Mayo.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Alberto Ramirez.
And I think he'll stay. I think he'll stay at cruiserweight, because that's probably, you would like to think that's where he needs to be. And I'm not surprised the way he looked last night. We're going to see him at heavyweight before his career ends. He will go up that far because he's. I don't think he lives enough style. You can tell about Yarde. Yarde lives the lifestyle. I don't think we've ever worried about him making weight or being in shape, but Benavidez definitely doesn't live that lifestyle, and he will go to 190. He'll beat Gilberto Ramirez at 190. I just think he will. I think he has.
That's a good fight.
That's a damn good fight. I hope it's not. I hope it's over here. That'd be great if it was in like Vegas.
It's for Cinco de Mayo. I think they learned their lesson on the Cinco de Mayo card.
Yeah, well,
you make money here.
Yeah, you cannot. Well, first of all, they're not traveling for that shit all the way to Riyadh. They're not. I mean, you have to do that. You have to do it over here. You know where they should do it? Him, Gilberto Ramirez, where the Arizona Cardinals play. Fill out that freaking football. It'll sell that football arena out pretty good.
That'd be a good fucking time.
That'd be a great time. I will go to that. I will actually fly to that if they make that fight. Put it in, because it's right outside of Phoenix. You've got, geographically, it makes sense. Benavidez is from Arizona. Ramirez is not that far away in Mexico. That's where it should go. Now, boxing doesn't make any sense any damn more. Probably end up in damn Minneapolis, Minnesota, or some crazy.
It's just going to be in Vegas. Yeah, Vegas at the T-Mobile, because it's not big enough fight. It's not like Canelo Crawford where they could do it in the football stadium. I don't think.
But if you put Bam, say you put Bam on the undercard with that fight, with those two, with that as the main event, you would sell a lot more tickets than you think you would sell.
Oh yeah, especially a Cinco de Mayo weekend.
That's what I'm saying. And that fight would sell a lot more. And you put that, then you have like the undercard could be that Mexican Olympian that they all really get behind now. You can make that card sing if you did it right, but we know they're not going to do that right. And I get this fight. There's no point to talk about it no more. Yarde is a good opponent. He's going to give everybody a few good rounds. He just doesn't have it, and there's nothing wrong with not having it. But like Des just said, I think Yarde, before he needs to end his career, is go for a damn, at least say you were British champion. At least have some belt in your damn cabinet before you retire. At least have that.
He wouldn't win a British title, Justin.
He probably wouldn't. He probably, yeah. That's
no,
the point. He's got to fight what? Callum Smith, Buatsi. They'd probably beat him.
He wouldn't. There's never been a period in his career at light heavy where he beats the British champion. He's been kept away from British champions for a reason. And when we talk about his trainer, sometimes there's a lid for every saucepan. Not many people have had Tunde as a trainer, and not many people might want Yarde as a fighter. I'm not saying that is the case, but sometimes people find each other, and I don't see him knocking down Tunde's door. And perhaps a trainer would have a look at Yarde and go, "There ain't much I can do with you." I mean, you look the part, and you're always going to get wins on cards, but above area level, I'm not quite sure how far you can go. And it just something to pick up on. Just when I watched them weigh in on Friday, I looked at their body and I looked at their weight. Yarde concerned me more than David Benavidez. I know what you mean about the look of David Benavidez, but it's the Tyson Fury thing. It's the Chris Finnegan thing. You've got to look past their bodies. I just think they're an anomaly. They're the exception, not the rule. I trust Benavidez' shape more than Yarde's over 12 rounds. Yarde has always worried me. He's far too muscle bound and far too big to be cramming all that into 12.5 stone. So I hear what you're saying, but I think it's the Tyson Fury effect. I think you've got to look past his body.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know that everybody was going to stop talking if I went and grabbed my pot.
This is turning into like a male bodybuilder contest podcast now.
Why is everybody on drugs? Well, I know I am, not the performance enhancing kind. I don't know if this enhances anything, honestly. I'll report back to you later on. But yeah, that was I'm looking forward to seeing Benavidez go up to cruiserweight because he's so freaking athletic. For a guy that looks like he does, he should not have the type of hand speed that he's got. And I think that if he fights Ramirez and he doesn't come in at the full limit, again, you have 25 pounds of room.
Yeah.
You can focus on speed. You have a chin. I mean, Benavidez, he's sturdy and solid. I mean, Yarde caught him a couple of times. Benavidez just didn't give a fuck. But if he comes in and goes with that speed advantage over Ramirez, he's probably going to win. But both of those guys put their punches together so well. And I'll tell you what, not seeing him against Bivol is a bummer and a half. But if you want a good replacement fight, this is about as good as it gets. I think about it more and more. What a great style fight. Like this, like it should be a banger, ladies and gentlemen. Like Cinco de Mayo 2026. If this really pops off, Benavidez versus Zurdo Ramirez, that's a freaking banger.
Benavidez
I think we got. Yeah, you're right, Justin. That's a really good fight. But I think we've got to start putting a lot of recognition and respect on Benavidez' name, because the run of David Lemieux, Caleb Plant, Andrade, Govotnic, David Morrell, all in 3 years, I think that's a really good run. And sometimes, elite fighters present themselves to us. And if he can beat the Ramirez, I think boxing's got one. I think he's got an awful lot about him. I think he's a brilliant talker. He's got a lot of charisma. He comes from a brilliant part of the world that really celebrate their boxers. No, I think David Benavidez is a real one. I think we've got one here, but he's just got to get over the Ramirez line, and that's a hard fight up at cruiserweight. Ramirez is a really good fighter, and Benavidez won't be offering nothing that Ramirez hasn't seen before, but he can be beating Ramirez, and perhaps David Benavidez is really in that fight, although he's still got to jump up a lot of weight.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, if he does beat Ramirez and they finally make an Opataya fight that matters, I'll say either Ramirez or Benavidez, the winner of that fight against Opataya, that's a real fight. And I'll tell you what, I'm up for that 1-2 of cruiserweight fights that will provide entertainment for us amidst all the nonsense. So yeah, it was a fun performance by Benavidez. He's just, as far as, bang for your buck and entertainment value, he's one of the best in the sport, guys. And that's the reason he's top on this card. The guy's pure entertainment, and he's brutal, man. Like, if you look at the way Caleb Plant performed against Resendez, I mean, was it ring rust, or did Benavidez just take, years off of his career?
I think so.
Yeah.
The way Benavidez fights, he can take. It's a great phrase. The way Benavidez fights, he takes you middle to late, and he constantly swarming you. He can take years off your career. Correct.
I remember during the Plant fight, just like, even though I'll admit, selfishly, it's because I bet on Benavidez by stoppage, but I remember, like, just for the safety of Plant, 10th, 11th, 12th round, like, why is this still going? Like, Plant doesn't need this. And it was one of the few times where, I think Stephen Breadman Edwards is a good trainer, a great boxing mind, but I think it's one of those moments where he let his own ego, his own desire to get the W, compromise his fighter. That not the best decision that night, in my opinion. I'm not Caleb's trainer. I don't know him the way he does bread.
No, but
The
it's
way Brett
a
does,
great
but
point. No, it's a great point. Them last 9 minutes in a fight like that, they can absolutely end a fighter's career.
Meldrick Taylor, like if that 12th round against, and I mean, he was starting to eat him later on, and it's just, you got to watch it. But anyways, that's a rabbit hole. Let's stick on this card and the good entertainment. I'll tell you where I was surprised is at least for the first 6 rounds, Devin Haney looked like a new fighter. He looked physical. He was aggressive. His shots had snap on him. He put Norman Jr. on his ass. And then the last 6 rounds, even though inarguably Haney won the fight, I thought he probably won 5 of the first 6, and 2 of the last 6. Boom, there's your 7 rounds done. And with the knockdown especially. But I was surprised. But the last 6, it was like back to why we hate watching Devin Haney fight. And I don't know. I have some thoughts and maybe some that I should keep to myself. But I will say that Devin Haney looked in great shape coming in and things like that. But that snap by the 6th round was starting to wear off, and maybe just a little too muscle bound, possibly, Justin, and just wearing himself out. But nonetheless, great W over Norman. And Haney is back in positive with positive regards all around for at least for the Saudi money that be.
Well, I'll be honest. I was a little kind of blinded by the fact that I just don't like Haney. So that's one reason why I was picking Norman.
I know. He's a fucking especially, it's not even just him. His dad is just such a douchebag.
That's why I wanted Norman to win. But we all should have known. Once he had that big knockdown, that was it. He got what he wanted. He was not going to open up after that. He got the knockdown. He was going to coast.
He fought a very Cuban fight. After 6 rounds with the knockdown, he thought he had enough piled up he could coast.
He did, and he did. Yeah. He did have enough. I mean, I look at it this way. Am I going to bitch about that? No, because he got the win, and he's going to move on. He did what he had to do. I'm not going to sit there and bitch about it. Fighters have been doing that for years. Once he got that massive knockdown, he knew what the deal was. Him and his corner aren't stupid. They know Norman was going to start swinging then. So, of course, don't open yourself up to that because you know what Norman has to do. So, Norman was, I think we just overrated Norman to a point because I just wanted him to win so bad. But Haney is the better fighter.
Well, he didn't have the big fight experience of Haney.
Did not have
and that might have been something we were missing, is what happens with the bright lights, right?
It is, and Haney, I think the announcer said last night, I think Mora made a good point. Norman never expected to get knocked on his ass like that. He never thought Haney was going to be able to put him down. And like Mora made a good point, that changed everything in that fight because Norman lost a little confidence. I think he's a confidence fighter. And once he got completely obliterated with that shot, 2 shots actually, that really knocked him down, Haney knew what he had. Could Haney have stopped him? Yes. I do believe if Haney would have opened up more, I don't think Norman was going to be able to hurt that version of Haney last night, honestly. Haney does have, let's say, I know this is going to be weird to say he has a good chin because he freaking got destroyed by Garcia, but we know what Garcia was doing, so we can kind of put that to the side on its own. But Norman had only really shined versus a freaking human totem pole in Japan. We're blinded. I give Haney respect. Let him. I did not carry coasted. I mean, I had 3 screens going. I had it up in the corner. Once he got that knockdown, that was it for me in that fight. I threw it up in the corner screen. I knew what was going to happen. I knew he was just going to box his head off to finish it out, and he did. Norman tried to make it a fight. You can maybe give Norman 3 rounds at most just because of effort, maybe. But Norman was.
I thought 4 because I think they give him the first round, and there was a stretch. It might have been like 8 through 10 or something like that, where I thought he won him.
Haney did what he had to do. I have no issue with that. He did what he had to do. I don't blame him for boxing the way he did. I think it was more embarrassing the way fucking Ben was acting outside the ring than actually how Haney fought. Think about it. You get the win. That's the point. You don't have to look good. He looked good. He got his style points. He rocked. That was a beautiful shot. He got what he wanted, and he won. Now, yes, we've never seen Haney cut like that before, but hey, fuck, it is what it is. You can say this, you can say that. We all know, well, we all kind of got ideas, but hell, fuck, he won the fight. Norman wasn't ready for that. I think if they fought 10 times, Haney would probably win 9 of those 10, and Norman might get lucky and catch him once. Haney it was just better. He's just a better fighter. Norman couldn't get to him. That's it. I mean, I don't know what else to add about it. That's just it.
Yeah, and Des, it was a good performance. I think Rob kind of was one kind of queuing in on it, and we were hoping that Norman would pull it off from things that we had seen, weaknesses in Haney, and sometimes I guess you're just looking for a reason. But I will say that I thought the confidence from Haney from the Ramirez fight to last night was night and day. He fought like a guy who knew what he was doing in there, who was comfortable in his own skin. Whereas in the Ramirez fight, I just kind of felt like even though he won it easily, he was just kind of a guy who was like lacking an identity in the ring. And last night, I'd say that he found it again.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of putting it. I think Devin Haney turned up last night against a really good kid. And look, we want elite fighters to fight each other. We want kids trying to win world titles at the top of a division that want to get into that elite bracket to fight guys that have been in that elite bracket. And that's what we got last night. And we can't pull people down when they lose. Someone's got to win and someone's got to lose. And last night was a really good fight between two very good fighters. I thought Brian Norman would have too much at this stage for Devin Haney, but the right Devin Haney turned up. And we've always spoken about Devin, whether you like his dad or not, or whether you disagree with some of Devin's behaviour. Devin was at one time everybody's top 10 fighter, and Devin Haney was an elite fighter. And last night, that Devin Haney showed up, and I think he really used Brian Norman's enthusiasm and his style against him. Brian turned up fancying the job, and Devin had really good feet, and he knew how to keep that distance and let Brian walk into him. And he had so much snap. He had a lot of poke on his shots. And every time Devin stepped back, he timed it just right for Brian to step into that space, and he landed. And the third round was a chance for Devin Haney to say to Brian Norman, "Welcome to the big league." And that had an effect. It really did. And I think Devin was exceptional last night. His judging of distance, his hand speed, his shot selection, his angles. It kind of made Brian Norman look really strong, but rigid and predictable. And it takes a really good fighter to do that. Like, not quite as level as this, and not quite as much jeopardy. But when Hagler did the same thing to Mugabe, you're everything you should be. You're big, you're strong, you're aggressive, you're game. But you're not gonna put that on me today. I'm gonna work around you. I'm gonna out punch you, out maneuver you, out distance you, out angle you. I'm gonna have everything you've got plus more, and I'm gonna be one step ahead of you. And last night, from as early as round 2, you could just see the right Devin Haney turned up, and he was just one step ahead of Brian Norman. But that won't hurt Brian Norman last night. Brian Norman's a good fighter, and he's going to go and win world titles. But we saw a very good fighter in Devin Haney. And the fighter we've often spoke about turned up last night. Really, really good performance.
Well, and I'll tell you, it's just a shame the welterweight division is so weak right now. The fact that Connor Benn is sitting there in his stupid fucking white shorts, waiting for that fight like he just got back from a holiday at the Club Med. And, after this fight with Chris Eubank Jr., it's just ridiculous. The fact that Ryan Garcia after getting dropped and losing to Raleigh Romero in a vacant title fight that shouldn't have ever happened, is getting another chance again against Mario Barrios here. And the welterweight division is just in terrible, terrible shape. And Devin Haney, I'm at this point in time, and I mean the Garcia rematch obviously has some intrigue, but at this point in time, I mean, with that one victory, Haney is kind of head and heels above everyone else at welterweight. One guy's opinion.
I agree with that as well. I do, and like Bill Haney put out a brilliant interview with Radio Raheem this morning, and it kind of sums up the whole Conor Benn approach. It was like, do me a favour, we're on different planets to you. Go and win yourself a belt. Go and win a title of some description. Go and fight guys that we've heard of. You know, don't call out my son was the theme, and I agree with that. I don't take that sort of stuff seriously. In the weird and wacky world of Riyadh finance, maybe Devon's on such a big coup, maybe they can put Conor Benn into that, and maybe they just here to get as much money as they can now. I don't know. That might be the Conor Benn model, but there's no way in any planet, in any sphere, that Conor Benn wins a round against Devin Haney. It's far too good, but that's always been the case. There's nothing new here, so I can't see that happening unless the money is so huge and they just can't. They can make it, and there's such a big package being put together because Turkey Ali Sheikh wants to see it. He thinks it'd be good for his product. But in a boxing sense, no, they're on different planets, them two.
And unfortunately, I think because of the way that the casual observer views the sport, I think that there is money to be made against Conor Benn, and it's stupid. This guy who is, I mean, honestly, like if he won the British title, the English title, that might be amazing in itself. But the fact this guy is going to get like 3 huge $1 million plus paydays in a row. Fuck me, I hate this sport sometimes.
No. He's never ever going to fight for British, Commonwealth, European titles or English titles because the money's not there for him for that. He's just taken the best part of 15 million quid for the 2 Eubank fights. He's never ever going to fight for them domestic belt. He's never ever going to fight for 35 grand, 40 grand. He's never going to do that. Them days that's past him. He's probably never boxed for that money anyway.
I don't want to get this conversation derailed here, but obviously you have to give Eddie a ton of credit in what he was able to do here. He was able to take this incredible negative of this guy popping positive for performance-enhancing drugs and headlining shows just at small, not necessarily small halls, but mid-sized venues in the UK, basically running off of his father's name at the end of the day, and then taking this huge mistake that gets him suspended from boxing and turning it into a positive, which led to 2 blockbuster events ultimately against Chris Eubank Jr. Like, that's what's fucking wrong in a nutshell. Like, how does somebody mistreat the sport that way and then on him and then insert themselves not into 1, not to 2, but $3 million plus paydays? Fucking madness.
Well, he's just got the app, he's got the finance, they've got the promotion, and they've used boxing fans against himself. The boxing fans have been like turkeys waiting for Christmas. They've bought into this type of crap, and there's more rubbish coming down the road. It was announced this week, and there's gonna be more rubbish after that. So, like, I'm afraid the people that bought tickets for last week, the people that want to go and see that type of thing, the people that pay for the pay-per-views and don't stand up against the level of pay-per-views and the type of fights we're getting, and all the gaslighting we keep suffering from the commentators to the promoters to the networks to the managers to the radio shows. Well, me personally, I only protest by turning it off. I ain't got a voice, but I turn them off. I'm not interested in that. You can't kid me. But in terms of real boxing and where boxers sit, there is no universe where Conor Benn competes against the likes of a Devin Haney. But what a Devin Haney could do, right, and this could be something that might be, advantageous for Devin, is to spend the next 18 months at 47. He's a standout kid at that division. You might even get another Brian Norman fight. You could bring over William Parrow. There's Jack Cattrall. I think Polano's in there as well. You could have not an easy run, but you could have a lesser run for 18 months and just see what happens. See who comes up from 160. See who you can entice down. See what's up at 54. But Devin Haney, on the package he's on, he doesn't have to go forcing huge fights. He can really enjoy the next 12 to 18 months at 47 with a world title and just see how the landscape changes, because a lot of things can happen in a couple of years in boxing.
Yes, it can. And Haney is in a strong position here. Does he?
He is.
He gives himself, and honestly, with all the killers at 154, I would just stay at 147 and
I would
knock people back, make a bunch of defenses, unify. I would see no reason to wander up there. The Garcia rematch would be big money if he beats Barrios, which he could. I actually think Barrios is probably going to surprise a few people. My early prediction on Garcia versus Barrios is Garcia by a very contentious decision. One man's opinion. But yeah, and so yeah, that's 147 in a nutshell right now. But I'll tell you, Justin, one thing that I definitely got wrong, well, still getting right, because I did say rounds 10 through 12 looked like a fairly decent option, was Bam Rodriguez showing why he's pound for pound in this unification fight with Fernando Martinez and just walking him. I can't believe what the gap between these guys, who honestly are the 1-2 at 115, clearly with their accomplishments and what we've seen, but the gap between that 1 and 2 was so huge. I mean, Bam just he worked angles around him, lit him up, and then when Martinez started to slow, he just stood in front of him and ate him up until he finally landed that left hand that floored him. I think it was in the 10th round, and finished him off. But Martinez was fighting with a broken nose from the second round. Bam landed this short left hand,
Beautiful.
sweet, just stuffed his nose back into his face, and Martinez was blowing blood since that round. I mean, he truly dominated a guy who is inarguably the number 2 in the division. It's like, when I saw that, it was like watching Crawford obliterate Spence when you're thinking it's a competitive fight, and he just comes in and whitewashes him.
Well, good comparison is that fight last night was like when we watched Chocolatito on his HBO debuts. Just beautiful.
Yeah.
Everything you could possibly think of, he did. He did everything perfect last night. Bam Rodriguez, every shot was set up. Everything he did was beautiful versus a guy who, like you just said, no bum. I mean, this was a good fighter, and he absolutely just walked his ass all over that ring. Martinez, way too tough for his own good. His corner was way too tough for their own good. That fight should never even gone as far as it did. That left hand should have never landed. That was beautiful. Bam Rodriguez, for me, proved last night he's top 3 pound for pound. You have to put him up there now. I mean, that was a really good performance. He's looked, I mean, this is great. You like when you see a guy who we already know he's a pound for pound guy, but he added more to his game last night. He was doing it's like he got better. And you don't see that from the little guy.
We forget he's still young. I mean, he's like 25, 26. I mean, he's still a kid.
20,
is he 28 now? Let's take a look.
34.
No, go for it. Keep talking. I'm looking.
No, it was beautiful last night. That is the performance. If you want to show somebody that's never watched boxing what true boxing is and what a true pound for pound guy looks like, show them that fight. And then tell them, hey, by the way, the guy that he just beat the hell out of, that's a top 5 guy too. And beat the brain. That was beautiful. There's nobody that can watch that and say, what did Bam do wrong? Nothing. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. Martinez, only reason Martinez lasted as long as he did because he's tough. And he wasn't going to stop. Bam realized he had to put him down because Martinez was not going to go down on his own. Sometimes these guys, they're not going to quit. The corner wasn't going to quit. You had to make him quit. And Bam, that was beautiful. That is why I love boxing. That was fun to watch a master at his craft take somebody apart is why we all got into boxing. That's what you love. God, that was pretty. That's why I flew, and that's why I went to Dallas to watch him. That's beautiful boxing. There's nothing I can say to him besides that. He did it. He reminds me of, I just kept thinking, because Chocolatito is the guy that got us all really into the little guys. We already kind of watched him, but he's the one that got us like fired up about it. The pioneer that got us really more into it over the last few years.
He sparked the golden era. It specifically, and it's so crazy that it was on a Wealth TV card. I don't know if people remember that. But his first fight with Estrada was basically the spark for this modern lower weight revolution.
And Estrada was another guy that really carried the torch for a while. And man, Bam looked awesome. There's nobody going to touch him at 115. He's probably going to have to go up again if he wants to. Because he just beat the hell out of the guy who's considered. So he's going to have a guy go up to face him, or he's going to have to go up, because you just beat the shit out of the second best fighter in your division. There's nobody else at 115. I mean, who wants that? There's nobody wanting that. What we saw last night. There's nobody wanting to jump in there with him.
Yeah, and Des, I'll tell you, it's pretty amazing when you think of it. Since he came in on short notice in February of 2022 and beat Carlos Cuadras, he also bought Rungvisai, who has 2 wins over Chocolatito. He's beaten Sonny Edwards. He's beaten Juan Francisco Estrada. He beat Pedro Guevara, who's a former champion, and now Martinez, who is a unified champion with 2 wins over Kazuto Ioka, which makes he's no joke. I mean, it really, like the last 3.5, 4 years, I mean, it's just been the rise of Bam Rodriguez. And he is only 25 right now. And he's just getting better. He is just getting better.
Yeah, well said. And that's it. He's just getting better. And every time you watch him, you think, wow, this guy's flawless. Like I watched Benavidez last night. I saw things in his game. I thought, he couldn't do that against Bivol. Bivol wouldn't suffer that. And you see it all the time, when you look at AJ winning fights, or whether it's Devin Haney winning fights along his career, whether it was guys down at lightweight. We watched Abdullah Mason last night. You can always kind of pick holes in fights and, well, you have to polish up there. I can't see where Bam gets better. I can't see what he's got to polish up. And I can't see anyone figuring him out. He's the closest thing to what I see as the perfect fighter, because no matter what you do to him, he seems to figure it out. If you try and press him like Martinez did, you'll suffer. If you go backwards, he presses you. If you try to turn southpaw orthodox, he figures you out. He's got really good feet. He knows how to step into the gaps. In close, he really enjoys that you throw with him, because he knows how to he seems to see it like a fly. It comes just a bit slower, and he just comes outside your shots. The knockdown yesterday was a brilliant example of that. In close, he just read Martinez's backhand and just slipped outside of it, and almost in sync threw his over the top. And that one he threw over the top knocks you out. It don't just sting you. It puts you out. He's got world-class feet, world-class hands. He seems to have power, world-class power. He's got brilliant IQ and intellect. So we've been speaking about him on this pod for a long time, and we've had debates. People said, how could you put him in the top 10, or how could you consider him to be pound for pound? 100%. This guy is up there with anything I'm looking at now in boxing. He's brilliant. He's absolutely superb. He's an absolute pleasure to watch. And I don't know if it was Justin said it or you said it. I think it was Justin. If you're going to tell anyone to watch boxing, watch Bam Rodriguez. It's an absolute delight. There's nothing more I can say about him. He's getting better and better, and he looks flawless.
Yeah, and it's just, I'll tell you, the only shame when it comes to the lighter divisions is I wish that Oscar Collazo was just a little bit bigger and was just and started career just a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Because I think skill for skill, Oscar Collazo at those lower weights is the only guy who, when I watch him, I see some of those that footwork that gets us enthused about Bam, the wide variety of punches that gets us enthused. But unfortunately, I think Collazo at around 5'2" and just going around unifying minimum weight, I don't think that's a fight we'll ever see. So you're talking
like a
118.
That's a lot of weight jump for him, and he's not yet to go up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great fight. He's a great fighter as well.
I don't interrupt your rhythm, but somebody just posted that Vanis Martirosyan just died. That's a damn shame.
No way! That's fucking terrible.
Yeah, the cancer. They just Ring just
announced.
Yeah, man, I like Vanis. Remember he fought Triple G. He was a decent fighter. He was an Olympian. They just posted it. I didn't want to break our rhythm, but yeah, I like Vanis.
He came in on late notice, I think, against Golovkin. I think he fought someone else that was a pretty big name and might have gotten hosed on the cards. I'm trying to remember that, but he was a really good prospect coming up, just in a much deeper era. Back in the first forum I ever posted on, which was literally boxingforum.com, we had to pick your prospect, and Vanis was my prospect. That's a shame. He was one of those group of Armenian fighters who kind of gained a foothold post 2000. I think probably the most notable among them stateside would have been Viktor Chinian. Internationally, probably Arthur Abraham. That's a damn shame for Vanis and his family. I mean, peace be with all of his family for that one. That's a fucking bummer and a half right there for him. Alas, we roll on. We only have one more fight to talk about to wrap it up. But before we get there, our friend Dominic is with us. So Dom, why don't you go ahead and give us your summary of, we've gone over Benavidez, Yarde, Haney and Norman, and Rodriguez and Martinez. Oh, and then we lost Dom. So never mind. What the hell happened to Dom? I don't know what's going on in this world.
Before Dom comes back, Matty, I think we're going to see Bam go up to Super Bantam. I think he's going to dip his toes at Bantam, pick up a title, because that's what you got to do. But he's going to go for Super Bantam, and there's some really big fights down there.
Do you think he'd really chase the winner of Inoue versus Nakatani?
Not sure. I mean, that's good question.
You talk about like a pinnacle statement like that. To me, if he jumped 2 weight classes and beat the winner of that fight, like I've got to tell you that, I mean, that might be more of an accomplishment based on current abilities and form than Crawford jumping up and beating Canelo. Maybe.
You know, sometimes in boxing, management sit down with fighters and they say, let's be strategic with this. Let's go and have 18 months at bantamweight. Let's pick up some good money. Let's go and really, let's build your brand. And let's just wait for them monsters at Super Bantam to either move on, retire, or come down a bit. So it might be a little bit of timing as well with Bam. They might hold him back. I don't think he'd do that in the next 12 months because that's a big ask. But I certainly think that at some point we're going to see Bam up at Super Bantam. And I think en route he'll just pick up a bantamweight title just to add to his legacy.
Yeah, there's got to be something there, and like I like the winner of the fight between Inoue and Nasukawa. Neither of those guys is going to trouble Rodriguez. They don't bring anything to the ring that I think would trouble him particularly. I mean, maybe the less talented Inoue brother has a sturdy enough chin that might lead him to the distance against Rodriguez, but that's about it. Yeah. I don't want to see Nasukawa. Do we want to see Nasukawa cry twice? I don't know. I don't
want to see anyone cry. Unless he's crying with happiness.
Tears of joy. And then Dom was in and he was out again. Yeah, it's a very confusing time. But yeah, why don't we go ahead and head to the final fight, on that main card there with Sam Noakes giving it all he could against Abdullah Mason, making it the distance, which shocked me. And I think the only thing that caused him to do that was his absolute will. I thought the 115 to 113 cards might have been just a little bit too close. There's definitely a Noakes fan base there that was hooping and hollering at times. But both of these guys landed some shots. I think both were hurt at times, but Mason just had more. He had a little bit more power, a little bit more speed, a bit more versatility, and that's what it took. But it was a rough fight to watch. It was fully entertaining. but both guys landing big shots, and Justin particularly, I thought that those kind of uppercuts that Mason was just shoving into the midsection of Noakes were particularly vile, and I just got to commend Noakes on making it the distance. I was blown away that he was able to see 12.
It's one of those fights you got to get through as a young kid. I mean, Mason is the youngest world champion right now at 21. Noakes was fucking tough. Noakes was like a brick wall because Mason landed beautiful shots and the body work. I mean, how many will he land? What, 300 body shots? I think he hurt Noakes like 9 times to the body, and Noakes would not go down. And sometimes, we said this earlier, sometimes some guys aren't going to go. And Mason was throwing beautiful shots, really fluid. Noakes never really hurt Mason. He never really stunned him really or really hurt him. But, man, that was a brutal fight for Noakes, who took a lot of shots. And Noakes doesn't lose anything. I know this sounds maybe weird way I'm going to put it. He doesn't lose anything by losing that fight. He gained a lot of fans. He gained a lot of respect. Mason, every young world champion is going to have – you're going to have fights you got to get through. That was his. They tried different things. They tried to push him back. They tried to go on the back foot. Noakes was just a tough SOB. My God, that man took some horrific shots that most people wouldn't have stood up to. And I don't think it's nothing to do with Mason doesn't have the power. It's just Noakes is tough. His face was all beat up. I think people gave Noakes a little bit too much credit last night for the fact that he was so tough, thinking that maybe some people thought he won, which there's no way he won. Some people thought the fight should have been a whole lot closer than it was. You just got to look at the work. Mason was landing the better stuff, the better shots. He was getting Noakes come forward, and some people like when you come forward the way he did. But I give it to him. My prediction was almost right. I thought Mason would stop him around 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that little late range. He come close a few times, but Noakes wouldn't go down. Noakes actually did go down one time, but he landed on the second rope and kind of sat there for a second. So he was going down. He was just in a lucky spot where he was going down. He fell back, landed right on the rope and kind of jumped, bounced off the rope and got back up. But I love Mason. I met him that one time. We went to Norfolk. He's a good kid. I think his whole corner is good. You've got to get through these fights. He did. He passed. Man, I don't think even Mason's corner expected Noakes to be able to take the shots he did. You could tell in his corner, and you could look at Mason's face, and he was sort of like, damn, a couple of times. This guy should not be taking as many shots as I'm landing here. But I love Mason for the fact if he fights like that, he's going to be it's going to be really hard to beat. The up and down, the jab was beautiful, the body shots, the uppercuts. He has every tool. It's just sometimes you go against a guy who's just going to take it. And Noakes, we'll see Noakes again. Noakes, I don't know if Noakes will win a world title, but he's definitely going to be in more fights like this because he's going to draw the crowds. People are going to want to watch him fight. He brings it. And I definitely gained a ton. I always liked Noakes. I didn't think he was this level. But he's one of these guys you're going to watch him fight every time now because the fucker's hard. That guy is hard as a fucking $2 steak, man. Shit.
Yeah, he's going to be in some entertaining fights. And Mason, he really got in there and dug in. And I think he might have made the fight a little bit tougher on himself than he needed to at times. But, Des, there's something I kind of thought might have been an experience factor for Mason in there. And that is, I don't necessarily know that he was aware that Noakes was hurt at certain times. I don't think he could catch some of the telltale signs when an opponent's trying to not give it away that they're actually stung, but they are. Did you catch any of that?
I did, but I thought it was the other way around. I thought Noakes was visibly hurt at times. He sagged a few times, but I think Noakes got to Mason as well, but Mason never showed his hand as much. Whatever way you cut it, that might be one of my favourite fights I've seen this year. It was two very good kids, both really honest, both going for it, held nothing back. And they both asked questions of each other last night. There was times when Mason would have thought, what have I got to do? to put this kid down? What have I got to do to stop him coming forward? There was times when Noakes thought, this is the level, is it? This is where I want to be. This is what fighting for a world title is all about. But what they both showed us was that they belong now. You know, at that level, fighting for a world title, Noakes can certainly take an awful lot from it. It reminded me a lot of when Richard Evert fought Junior Jones in Manchester. And, you know, Junior was the guy that everybody thought would be far too qualified, far too skillful, had far too much. But Richard closed that gap and he showed what a good fighter he was that night. God bless him. Sam Noakes showed that he belonged now. Now, look, you can lose big fights. It's boxing. Someone's got to win and someone's got to lose. I don't want to see Sam Noakes go backwards now. I want to see him stay there because he's a good fighter. He can really win a world title because Abdullah Mason, we've spoken about him on his pod. We're high on him. This is a star of boxing. This is one of boxing's future big ones. And Sam Noakes just run him really close last night. I thought somewhere between the scores I had it. I think Mason won it more than 2 rounds, but not as much as the other judge. But, you know, Sam was in that fight and there was rounds he won, but he didn't win clusters of rounds like what Mason did. And that could be, that's something that sort of probably went against him last night. And what I mean by that is sometimes if you're Sam Noakes, if you have if you lose, say, round 4, what you got to try and do in round 6 is not try and go and win it, but try not.
Des, you still there? You just cut off. Des, I don't know what happened there. Justin, can you hear me?
Yeah, Des it just went out.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. Yeah, Des, you just cut right out. I don't know what the hell happened. You might need to hop out and hop back in. I have no clue.
He got so emotional about Sam Noakes.
There he is. I don't know what fucking happened there.
Sorry, did I go missing?
Yeah, you just like disappeared like into
It's the post-fight pod all over again. He's gonna fall asleep again.
Oh no! I made some brilliant points as well. I can't believe it. Where did I get to, Matty?
You were God. Where were you at? You had mentioned that you thought that Noakes shouldn't go down a level at all. God. Yeah. There's about 25 seconds there. You're breaking up a little bit there.
My Wi-Fi's gone bad on me. I'll come back.
Okay. Well, while you're out and about, let's see here. We have Rob, and now Dom has hopped on with us too. Hopefully, everybody hangs on with us the whole time. Let's go to Rob real quick. Rob, we have wrapped that card, so go ahead, top to bottom. Let us know what you thought about yesterday's card from Riyadh.
Yeah, while you're talking about Abdullah Mason and Noakes, we might as well probably start there. I wasn't watching that one in real time, and that was the one I probably should have watched in real time. I should have hopped back in because I could see the group chat was buzzing. I said I'd catch it this morning. Expected it to be a foregone conclusion in that Abdullah Mason would come out victorious. I think Des called it right on the pre-fight pod that we did post weigh-in, where he talked about Abdullah Mason fighting from the southpaw stance, whipping those uppercuts in across the way. That certainly looked like that was one of the main differences between the two of them in their levels, is that Abdullah Mason has that ability, that long reach, that kind of shot selection, and crisp punching was a big difference between the two of them. Even though Noakes held on, I thought it was a right test for Abdullah Mason away from home, fighting on a big card. He's only 21, fighting for a vacant version of a world title. He's shown different types of excitement. Hold on one second. He's shown different types of excitement throughout his career, getting up off the deck, showing that he's a big puncher, showing that he has a bit of dog in him, and showed it again last night. Showed great shot selection. Some of those body shots, I don't know how Noakes fucking held up to them, honestly. The way he was digging the body, the uppercuts, he has it all. He's hittable, which is going to make him exciting as well, and he is learning on the job, so we can't be too hard on him. Noakes gave a great account of himself, and in many ways, the story of that fight was the one that I wanted for Haney Norman. So look, Bam is everything that we said he is. I don't want to bore the listeners to death talking about Bam. Bam did that to Puma Martinez. He toyed with him, and he did what he wanted, basically showing that he's a level above. I think he called out anyway, didn't he? Next, love to see that fight. Don't know what the fuck it'd look like. It probably has a right chance of getting made in this current climate. But the Noakes and Abdullah Mason fight, that was what I wanted for Brian Norman Jr. and Haney. I said that as much as I was invested in the Brian Norman story, I thought Haney would win. I just thought he was too big at welterweight. And that proved to be the case. I thought he rocked him with that left hook that he hurt him with first, dropped him, and then went into his shell. Like I thought, Bill Haney was giving good instructions in the corner, saying it's a 12-round fight. Like don't, what he was trying to do was keep him aware and not keep him engaged and not get sloppy. But I didn't think there was any need fucking to go to that level. Like I think at one stage after the fifth round, it turned into like B Hop versus fucking Tavoris Cloud. Like it was just a mall fest. Like he has to do more. Like he's 3-weight world champion, whatever. He has a definite level of skill and ability. There's no doubt about that for Devin Haney. I thought times last night he looked brilliant off the jab, and did really well at other stages in the fight. But just I don't know what it's not saying he's fighting scared, but just that conservative style, like, or I'm just gonna grind it out and do as much as I can to get the win. Without engaging, like I think he should have stopped Norman last night and made a big statement. If he'd have just walked through him after round 3, I think he could have probably got him there, because I don't think Norman actually recovered until about round 9, where he did show some signs of resurgence. But the stuff I was worried about for Norman played out in the fight. His feet are not great. He virtually doesn't have a jab. He leads with the left hook. He was hitting fresh air with it for most of the night. Really poor on the front foot. No feints, no fucking jabbing up and down the levels to try and set something up off that left hook, just fucking winging it. No, I think he had a clash of heads too. He probably had his nose broken. He was busted up, but those are the things you have to come through to get the win in title fights, especially up against top fighters. So I don't think I think me saying I never want to see him again was a little bit of a fucking an overreaction, but I say he hasn't warned people the same way. He didn't
Well,
do the walk to back up his talk that
well,
from the promotion that he led with the promotion. He really went into a shell after he got hit and couldn't find a way back into the fight. Just kind of played into Haney's hands. So
Well, and Haney's mistake is that any goodwill he built up with the boxing audience in the first 6 rounds, he gave up in the last 6.
yeah, yeah. It was definitely a fight of two halves, but it started off very exciting. Haney, I expected to win. They seemed like they were trying to sell us that Conor Ben Haney thing. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that or what that would even look like. I think Devin Haney beat the shit out of Conor Ben easily. But that's a story for another day. In terms of the main event, talking again about like looking at the likes of Noakes and what it took to beat him. When you look at the performance of Brian Norman Jr. and Anthony Yarde, I thought Anthony Yarde fought the completely wrong fight. Tried to stay on the outside. He's not elusive. He's not a great defensive fighter. He's very hittable. And David Benavidez proved that as he hit him 13 times in a row. I used to say I had one years ago about pretty boy Josh Kelly when people were ranting and raving about him hitting a fella with 5 left hooks in a row. And I said, show me a fella that gets hit with 5 left hooks without ducking. Well, I'll raise you one. We had Anthony Yarde who got hit with fucking 13 consecutive left hooks without fucking reacting. Absolutely an abysmal performance, really, from Anthony. Yeah, that's the only way you can describe it. Again, these things that we talked about, what you worry about from his point of view, in that him and Tunde definitely have a synergy and they can reach a ceiling. But what happens is when they get him to that point, his lack of experience in big fights and with fundamental boxing is exposed each time he goes up the levels. He hasn't got survival skills. He has no head movement. He's not great on the feet. That shit that they used to do in the it looks good in the gym. It looks good where Tunde's hitting him with the pads and he's doing the Floyd shoulder roll and he's on the ropes doing it and nothing's landing. Looks great. Looks fucking fantastic for people in the gym and they all get hyped up. Doesn't work in real life. Benavidez was able to hit him whenever he wanted to. Bit disappointed that Benavidez, after a win like that, is moving up without facing Bivol, where he's going after another big lump. It's in Gilberto Ramirez, who's gone from 68 to a cruiserweight. A big lump, another big lump, a battle of the big lumps. That would be, and I'm sure it'd be a rock'em sock'em, be probably a good contest. But I wanted to see Benavidez versus Bivol. Like I thought that was the natural fucking next fight to make. And you could be critical of Benavidez, who made a very big deal about not getting the fight with Canelo, that he's now not giving us the Bivol fight, and he's going up to see this fucking Ramirez, a cruiser that nobody wants to fucking see. Let's be honest about it. You want to see Benavidez hang around at light heavy and beat the best in the division, or try to beat the best in the division, or become the best in the division. Exciting from him. I thought he was in actual better shape than normal, actually. He certainly still has the physique of the little fat kid that he used to be. He hasn't. He's he's built in a special way, isn't he? Like he likes his fucking his chip buddies, David Benavidez.
Likes his tackles, Rob.
And his tackles, brutalmente from Dominic there. Um, yeah, no, like I thought he was entertaining. He did what he had to do. He came to fight. He came to seek and destroy. He cut off the ring. He let his hands go, and he smashed Yarde up. And I think that'll be certainly be the end of Anthony Yarde at top level. I cannot see, unless they get fucking Lyndon Arthur Ford, this time it's personal, going. It's hard to see him back, isn't it? Like hard to see him back out like that. Maybe he'll retire with a nice paycheck, but I don't want to fucking say. I thought that was a very poor. I'm giving Benavidez the credit for doing what Benavidez does, but I thought that was a very, very poor account from Anthony Yarde. There's so much other stuff that they could have done differently in that fight. Prepared differently. What was the game plan? Sit on the outside and wait for Benavidez to stop hitting him 15 times in a row. God awful. But a good night's action. And hopefully that'll carry us over for the next 6 months until we wait until we get another fucking night worth talking about. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed the action and actually stayed up to watch it in real time. Half cut as well, by the way. So yeah, good night all around.
Well,
right on. And Dom, you're so right on. So we haven't seen you in a while. You're also caught in this love-hate relationship with boxing, though. But so why don't you tell me from yesterday what you loved and what you hated?
Well, I've only seen. Well, first of all, good evening, Molly, and good evening all. And I'm privileged to be back in such rarefied company. And yes, I've been lesser spotted, lesser heard, but partly it is, out of love with the game, but it's more just the fact that I can't, I can't get time to see the fights, and I don't like coming on unless I've seen the fights. And I've only today got to see the fight that you were talking about before I came on there.
Don't let that stop you, Tom. I've been doing that for years, man. Don't.
I'm tell you innocent, Rob. I've seen the main event, and I've seen Noakes against Mason. I'll start off just on the back of what Rob was saying about the main event. I mean, I didn't get to catch any of the build-up, but just when I was watching waiting for the fight to start, the main event, I just caught a bit of the build-up on the DAZN broadcast, and Yarde was talking about how he was going to, come forward and meet Benavidez, and there was absolutely none of that. I was just when I was watching him pawn with a jab, as Rob was alluding to, there's all that tippy-tappy stuff, and there's just absolutely no authority behind his jab. And to have a chance of sort of staving off someone like Benavidez, that's the very least you need. I was just sort of begging for Jim Watt to come back and say, he's pawing with the jab, Rich. He's pawing with the jab. But I mean, it was a disappointing showing from Yarde, but you have to bear in mind as well, the two big fights before that he was involved in against Kovalev and Beterbiev, they may have taken more out of him than we realise. I mean, they were pretty tough fights. But he's never been good on the back foot. And I thought it was very interesting just listening to a brief interview with Frank Warren afterwards. I know him and Yarde have had a sort of up and down relationship in the past, in recent times, but usually if Warren's fully behind the fighter, he'd sort of make excuses. You might have expected Warren to say something about the
the punches that Benavidez landed in the penultimate round when Yarde was down, which I don't think was very. I think Benavidez Yarde was on his way down, but I don't think Benavidez was aware that he had actually touched down. But usually, Warren might be expected, a la Dubois against Usyk, to sort of latch on to the most lame excuse available. But he just said, he didn't fight on the front foot enough or try to fight on the front foot enough. I actually thought Matty and Rob and Des and Justin, I thought, just looking at Yarde before the first bell when they came to the centre of the ring, I thought I'm not typically one to read a lot in the body language, but I thought he looked beaten. When they came to the centre of the ring, he gave a wee wink to Benavidez and his team as if he were almost as if I were friends here or something. So I thought he looked at now that's obviously knowing the result before the fight starts, but as for Benavidez, I've been impressed with him. I was really impressed with him against Morel. I was impressed with him against Khalid Plant. I think his jabs, I love the way he throws the jab. I love the way he switches and turns southpaw. And I think the thing that's deceptive that people underestimate is his hand speed. I'm sure it's been mentioned by the guys before. He's got serious hand speed, and that means he's a serious combination puncher. So yeah, I just echo what Rob says. I wouldn't want to see him go up to cruiserweight. I would love to see him stick around at light heavyweight. I wouldn't mind seeing him in against Callum Smith because I think I know what the result would be. I just sort of would like to see that, to see the Smith brothers talking big in the build up and then to see Callum getting pummeled. But as for the Noakes,
It's like a Billy Madison, the O'Doyle family.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see that fight. I don't think Smith. I don't think they'll take that fight. But I really enjoyed the Noakes Mason fight. I thought that was. I saw that, like Rob. I was keeping an eye on the chat and I saw the guys were buzzing about it. And when I watched it just there an hour ago, it didn't disappoint. I mean, Noakes. I hadn't seen Noakes fight before. I'd seen Mason fight before, and I sort of I wasn't needing any convincing that Mason might be a bit special. I think he probably is. Like Rob said, I don't know how Noakes survived that body assault. One tough man, and Noakes, he earned a fan in me. I want to see him again. He did. He sort of he doesn't have the sort of natural punch picking ability that Mason has. But very few fighters will have that. And I think if he gets the right lightweights, looks like a very tough division at the minute. And the only worry I would have for Noakes really was how he responds from the punishment he took in that fight. I know there was a bit of the debate about the scorecards. My sense watching the fight was 7-5 would have been probably the best that you could have got for Noakes. Probably 8-4. I probably had it. I wasn't scoring it round by round, but 8-4 I think was probably a fair reflection. And Rob also made the point. I think that fight will do the world of good for Mason. I think that'll really aid his development. And I think I saw one of the guys in the chat made a very opposite comment last night for a 21-year-old. I think we all were in agreement of sort of, it was just in awe of Noakes' toughness. But Mason, he's only a 21-year-old, and he's very, very tough for such a young guy. So yeah, those are the sort of fights. Just the Mason Noakes fight. I think if we had more of those sort of fights, the sport would be in a much healthier place. It reminded me a bit of the Ray Ford Nick Ball fight. Just to sort of, you're just looking at it and thinking you were, as Des would have said, final bell, both guys off to the hospital straight away. But yeah, really enjoyed that fight.
Yeah, and it's I'll tell you the difficult thing about that fight, it was really rough, and both guys' stock went up last night. but I have a feeling that one or both of their careers was a little bit shortened by engaging in that battle too. That was brutal. But yeah, Abdullah, 21 years old, incredible discipline, and I got to say that's one advantage that I have to give to the Muslim fighters is I think that there's so much more discipline within that culture. I think it's definitely conducive to becoming a good boxer. Let's see here.
It's a bit like what B-Hop said when he had converted under and he was fighting under Nazim Richardson. He would just say, "Marty, I fear no man but Allah."
Yeah, there you go. And he fucking did not. I mean, he might have feared Sergey Kovalev after
this was when Steve Bunce was trying to rile him before Calzaghe against Hopkins.
Yeah, that one didn't go too well for him. He fears no one but Allah, and he will not lose to a white boy. Only one of those statements I think was true.
Here, I love the way Mason throws that uppercut off the back foot. He takes a short step back, half step back, and just unleashes that uppercut.
Yeah,
it's a real beautiful sight.
He does so much well. I just wish he would tuck his chin a little bit more.
Well, I know he got dropped in that Vasquez fight
twice. Yeah, that was a great fight though.
That was a great fight, but I mean, I was impressed with how well he took the shots last night. He did take some meaty shots, and I thought he hit them well. And he does look like he has a bit about him. There's a bit of dog in him. I mean, just compared to someone like Shakur Stevenson, I mean, the disappointment with Shakur is that you sometimes think he has it in him to be as expansive as that and open up like that, but he doesn't seem to want to do it often enough. Whereas Mason looks like he understands that it's an entertainment business, that his ability to earn and be successful really comes down to how willing you are to be exciting and to take risks. So yeah, I'll be looking out to see who he fights next. They're talking about the winner of Andy Cruz, and who's Andy Cruz fighting, Murray?
Raymond Murataya.
Yeah,
that's a good fight. That's a good fight.
I'm
high on Japanese. I'm high on Cuban Andy. Japanese Andy, not so much. Japanese Andy is a knockout waiting to happen. But yeah, 135 still stacked, even with Davis fucking off and Keyshawn Davis up to 140 or retired. Or
tell me about Davis. What's going on with Gervonta?
I don't. Or with Gervonta, so he's had a woman who is, I think, filed a lawsuit against him that he was dating for all sorts of stuff like smacking around, false imprisonment kind of stuff. I think like he apparently dragged her out of a strip club or something like that.
All false charges. All false charges.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But
I think once you get to 5 or 6, you got to get to 8 or 9 women before I believe it. I mean, 5 or 6, come on.
And this will be a segue here. And this is all I think that we want to say on this matter is that we, as a podcast, do not give a fuck about AJ versus Jake Paul. That 245-pound weight limit is very interesting. And I don't know. I think it smells to high heavens. I don't particularly want anything to do with it. I think it's stupid as fuck, and I think it's insulting the intelligence of boxing fans. One guy's opinion, and I think that's all we really want to say about it. Unless someone else wants to say the same thing in different words. I don't know. There you go. And we'll move on from that. See here. I dropped the link if Chuck who wanted to come on. We'll see what happens. Why don't we go back and Justin, I know that you caught this. We'll talk some pro box action here real quick before we get into some previews. We had a really fun main event. What the hell does go? I tell you. We had a really fun main event between Roman Villa and Francisco Verón. But Verón, who's only lost to Brandon Adams, he just had way too much. He kept Villa at the end of that stick, dropped him in the 9th. Honestly, not as competitive as I thought the fight was going to be. And I'll tell you, Justin, if Verón was 7 pounds lighter, I think he'd be instantaneously in discussion for possibly playing in the title picture at welterweight, which is so weak. But one division north, where he's operating at 154, as good as he looked, I don't think Verone has a route to a title, honestly.
No, he doesn't. I mean, it's not trying to knock Adams, but if you can't beat Adams, then that probably sums up where you are. I mean, I'm not trying to knock Adams, but Adams is like the
No,
level
he's
of
fringe title contender. He's
yeah.
fringe title contender.
If you can't beat Adams at 154, you're not going to win a world title at 154. It was a good fight. I kind of like the little Mongolian guy on the co-main event. I enjoyed that a little bit better.
Senbatar or Denabat, who we'll just call Sendi to make life easy.
He's left-handed. I kind of liked him a little bit better. The Rome fight is what it was, but you're right. He's in that. There's a lot of guys over the years that are kind of trapped, and he is one of those guys that he's just not going to be able to do much where he's at, and he can't go back down. He's not going to be able to go up. So he's just going to be a gatekeeper type guy. I think is where his career is going to be. Just not world level, just kind of in between that world level and gatekeeper is what he'll end up being. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You get paid a shitload of money to be that. I mean, it's not like you're not going to have a living, but yeah, if you can't beat Adams, that kind of sums up his career for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Sendi, he looks good. 135 pounds. I don't know if he's going to be there or 130. He's only 5'4", but he's a clever little fighter, fun to watch.
Yeah, he's got good movement. I don't think he's got the pop to play at 130 or anywhere around there because of the size, but he's interesting. He's a little southpaw. He's kind of got and you know how I am. I like the random country guys, not the ones we know about. The Mongolians. I don't know how many Mongolian champions we've had over the years, but I'll root for him just because of that. He's got the whole country on his back, basically. They're not known for their incredible boxing, I think, out of Mongolia, though.
So we had some jump on here. We got 3 Steves backstage. Let's see who you are. Who is? Oh, and they left. What the hell is that? That was weird. Anyhow,
Rodney's not trying to jump on again.
I have no clue what's going on these days. I have no clue. Let's go check ye old boxing schedule here and see what it has to say about the week ahead. I still need to watch the women's fight from last night. My apologies for all of those who tune in to hear my take on women's boxing. Just going to be left wanting this week, unfortunately. Let's see here.
How are they going to cope with that, I wonder?
Yeah, it's a rough life, man. It's just, but I think in this day and age, Rob, folks just have to get comfortable with living with disappointment. So let's see here. Oh man, we got all sorts of crap going on this week. Not to say any of it matters, but we got
a brief tangent, Matty. Before it came on, yes, we're talking about Armenians.
Yeah,
you're talking about Vons.
Yeah, you're going to talk to us about rolling some dice for some gold-plated curtain rods?
Well, it was more just, you mentioned Vic Darchinyan, and it just conjured the image in my mind of our dear departed Gabe, because Gabe
he loved Vic, dude.
Gabe loved Vic, and he never forgave Donito for icing him, isn't that right?
Yeah, he used to call him all sorts of names because of that. He loved watching the Axeman knock him out.
Nonito was universally loved in the sport, but not by Gabe. Not by Gabe.
God bless him. We hope he's okay. We feel bad for that family that he ate, but they're in a better place now.
So Gabe could have He's 7 Vic Darchinians.
I don't know. No. Let's give him some credit. He's about 4 Darchinians, and that's fighting weight, not walking around weight. This schedule is actually freaking packed this week with a bunch of stuff, and I don't know how much of it matters here. Let's see here. Where do we want to start with? Well, let's go with what's going on tomorrow in Japan. Gonna have the aforementioned fight between Tenshin Nasukawa and Takuma Inoue. Also on that, Makito Nakano and Raisa Lim. I haven't seen that name in a while. And we mentioned Carlos Cuadras earlier. He's still fighting. This time he's going to be fighting Tomoya Suboy. And apparently this is going to be on that Top Rank classic streaming channel. So if you want to wake up at the buttfuck of dawn and watch this stuff, for me, it's not going to be bad. Or compared to my time zone it is. East Coast, not nearly as bad. You'll be able to watch the main event like around 7 in the morning probably. So you got that going for you. I guess this fight, Justin, I'll tell you what, this fight, I guess the only way I describe it is when you look at a guy like Nakatani, who is leaving the division now and is just kind of dropping his belt so he can pursue that fight with Inoue, the fact that Tenshin Nasukawa and Takuma Inoue is a vacant title fight kind of shows like where that is a wide open division at this point in time. Like I'm vaguely interested in this fight, knowing neither of these guys is ever going to be pound for pound or offer a pound for pound guy a challenge.
Well, that's what happens every time when the big dog leaves or the big dog can't fight. It allows everybody else to get a shot. And the Kuma is decent. I mean, of course, it's not like his brother. He doesn't have any real power, but he's got a little ability about him. But he might sneak him a title, and I guess the Inues can have a little dynasty going there.
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever you call a little bit of gap of talent between one and two. But
I haven't heard Reese Salim
right. I saw that. I'm like, holy shit!
I don't know. They randomly just dragged him to Japan. I have not heard him in a long time.
Speaking of,
what's that? He King guy was. He was just the. God, where did Liam come from? It's been forever since we heard him.
Yeah. Well, speaking of randomly, here is our man Jason Chukwoo. Chukwoo, before we get too deep into these previews here, why don't you give us your review of the week ahead or the week behind us? Well, what'd you think this weekend? I know you're keen on Yarde, but not the best performance from the man.
I'm not really keen on Yarde. I'm just, I got shout out David Benavidez. Got shout out Yarde because at least he held on to round 7 because he helped me win my accumulator. Benavidez in 7-12, helped me complete my threefold. Man, it's not every day I win, so.
I like that. And if you're listening to the show last week, I think we said last half Benavidez was a good bet. So yeah, you could have even made that Aka bigger.
I was almost going to bet on Benavidez points, but I said no, I just had to go with 7-12. I got lucky. But can I just say, what you got to understand about Yarde is this has been the plan from the get-go. You see, when Frank Warren signed Yarde in the first place, he just needed something. He needed his own Anthony to go up against Eddie Hearn's Anthony, because at that time, Queensbury was on administration, was going to a shit streak, and he just needed someone to promote and to lie to the public and say, oh, this guy is he's a good-looking guy, probably gets loads of girls, probably say they want to promote him and on the public, make him think that this guy's going to be the truth. The only difference between Yarde and say someone like Dave Allen is Dave Allen deep down in his soul knows he's a clown. Yarde actually believes he's the real deal. It's the only difference, really. Yarde is a perfect example of if you have a good promoter, how far you go in life. He's the first area level multi-millionaire. You'll never see something like that ever again. It's only in this era that something like that can happen.
Let me ask you, where do you think that Yarde ultimately is just going to fall back into another fight with, what do you think, like Buatsi, another fight with Lyndon Arthur?
I think if the thing that can happen, the most that can happen is probably fight Buatsi again, retire, start OnlyFans. I think Yarde will make a good porn star. Honestly, I think he'll do well. Film some scenes in Peacock. I think he'll, the wankers will pay for it. No joke.
Is the Peacock not defunct now, Chuckway?
No, it's still about at the gym. I saw someone in East London. Sure is.
I thought I heard something that the Peacock. I don't know. I thought I'd heard something that the Peacock had closed down. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that now, but I can't remember where I read that. But I mean, I'm not too interested in seeing Yarde Buatsi. I mean, it's long past the stage now where it may have had some sort of relevance. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I don't want to go too hard because boxing's a hard sport. But come on, the most shocking thing about the fight, I thought, okay, cool. He lost against Kovalev, he lost against Beterbiev. You're thinking, this is his last chance for losing against. Even though Benavidez is a good fighter, this is probably the easiest out of the three. I mean, I haven't seen a Benavidez fight since Anthony Durrell. You know me, I'm out the loop. So I'm thinking, cool. He's probably going to go full retard, like Hatton against Mayweather in the first round, or Tyson against Holyfield in the first fight, or the first round of their first fight. Where he's just going to go. He's going to lose all four. He's just going to go. He's going to go all guns blazing. No, goes to the ropes, just that fake little Mayweather shit. That doesn't work. Like he's got turtle arms. Him fighting on the back foot. It's pointless. It's not effective. He gets hit all the time. Like me, I watch a lot of clips on YouTube, and surely I might imitate some people, but at the end of the day, I'm not Mike Tyson. Like you're not Floyd. You know what I mean? I know you love him, probably look up to him and all that, but you're not like you fighting like that when you haven't got the stamina, you're all muscly and everything. It's pointless. And it's like they haven't learned anything. It's silly. Like, I mean, I won my bet, but at the end of the day, like, it's embarrassing, really.
He would have been like, better going out.
Again, we do fight, you know, Benavidez for the millions, but like, there's levels to this. Like, people could die. It's crazy.
He would have been better going out in a blaze of glory, as you say. You know, not conceding the center of the ring without going down with a fair fight. I think, you know, he would have been probably stopped in maybe 4 rounds max. But, you know, as you say, once he retreated to the ropes, it was just an inevitability. And in fact, by the end of the 3rd round, I think I remember thinking at the end of the 3rd round, Benavidez was already just had that air about him that it was just a matter of time. So
The same thing over and over again. It's crazy. It's crazy. I could not believe that he fought on the back foot again. Like, why? Have you not learned?
I know, and I agree, and I'm not. I would never question Yarde's guts or his bottle, but it takes a certain.
No, you've got heart. He's got more heart than anyone. But this ain't about heart. It's not about heart.
Yeah.
It just
he doesn't have the skill.
Yeah, he doesn't.
What are you gonna do? It's just either do or you don't. Hey, but Jason,
boxing is like. Now, say what you're gonna say. Say what you're gonna say.
I was gonna say. So, who do you out of that entire card last night? If you were to say who gave your favorite performance yesterday, who was it?
It was probably I'd say because I can't talk about the Mason fight because I was on the phone just looking at Instagram. I lost my distraction. The Rodriguez fight again, I was distracted. So I'll probably say Haney because Norman. I haven't seen him fight, but he's got 22 KOs. Like Haney. People were talking shit about him, and because I bet him on points, I was just happy, that because even when you look at the build-up, the ring walk, Norman looked the more confident, and the fact that Haney could do that, I was just happy. And there was a period where he could have knocked him out, but I'm glad he didn't. I won my bet, so I'll probably say Haney.
Well, just when it's on my mind, Matty, while I was watching the fight, waiting for the, it was actually. It was 2 or 3 rounds into the Yarde fight, and they interviewed Boazzi. I don't know if anyone caught this, but that lady that works for the Zone, Claudia Trejos, and she was talking to Boazzi. She started off the interview. She says, "You had a great win 2 or 3 weeks ago." Now, I haven't seen the Boazzi Parker fight, but I've seen what the Nutters chat said about it when it was going on at the time, and it didn't sound like a great win from what the Nutters were saying. So there you go. Claudia
who do you want to doubt Claudia's boxing knowledge, Dominic?
Or acumen, or judgment.
That's a good point, by the way. For the amount of bread that's getting spent on bringing in all these fighters together in Riyadh, I know I've mentioned it before, and the production is not as important as the actual action. But having to listen to fucking Sergio Mora and Mike Coppinger alongside fucking Claudia then popping out. Claudia popping out with the fucking menopause patch on her and the double fucking denim, and the boys fucking keep talking for the whole night. Like, absolute dross that was. Like,
talk about turning
fucking.
Which ring of hell are we in?
Talk about turning gold. Talk about turning gold into dross. I mean, you used to have 20 years ago. You used to have Lampley, Letterman, Merchant,
Ellerman, fucking Roy, fucking you name it. Like, and then we've got this like. Mike Coppinger, unbearable to listen to. Like,
how is someone like him? How is a scribbler? If he's not even a scribbler, how is someone like him wind up in a position like that? I mean, that's just.
You gotta know which ass to kiss, dude. You gotta know which ass to kiss. That's the key to it all.
Get him out of here, Daryl.
So. Hey, Chuckwu, before we let you go, let me ask you, who at this point in time is your fighter of the year?
Fighter of the year?
Yeah, who? No other boxing goes on this year. Who would be your fighter of the year?
Fighter of the year? Jesus Christ, I'm so out of the loop, man. Fighter
Are
of
you
the
out
year?
of the loop? What the hell?
I am. But I'm thinking about what. Wait. When did Bivol Berterbiev happen? Was that this year or last year?
That was earlier this year. That was earlier this year. Yeah, that was earlier this year.
Was that earlier this year?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Okay, cool. You have to give it to Bivol. Then I'll just say that. I'm out the loop. And my opinion is like, bro, I'm out the loop. So. I'll just say Bivol just because he Bivol.
Yeah, I don't know.
Actually, wait. I haven't
worry,
seen Upper
dog, you
Tier
haven't
fight, but I
missed
can't. I was going to say Upper Tier, but he hasn't beaten anyone yet. But he looks good though. But you'd have to say Bivol, but objectively. So I'm just out of the loop, really, man. I just can't believe Yarde did the same thing again. That's the most shocking thing. I thought he was gonna like give it like fight on the front foot. Like he tried in the 6th round, but by then he just lost steam. It's crazy. Like, and the thing is, even if you put Yarde.
Why would you be shocked, Chuckway? Because I mean, he hasn't. What has he changed in the background? I mean, he's still with Tunde.
I hear you on that, Dom. I was the same as Chuckway. I expected Yarde to fucking leave it all in the ring, fucking let his balls hang last night. I really expected him to just fucking go, because I was thinking like, what's the fucking methodology behind making this fight? Who's it big enough? Is it big enough? Benavidez? Is there? What's the fucking? There has to be a trick in this, like for Frank, where he gets a bit of a redemption or something. But after round 1, I was like, oh no, he's getting the shit beat out of him, and he's not fighting mid distance. This is going to be a hard watch. Like, there for the payday. Like,
Did any of you give Yarde a round?
Nope.
Did any of you give Yarde a round?
Nope.
I thought maybe like the 3rd or the 4th he might have won. I couldn't remember what round it was.
I gave him the sympathy 2nd round, but like it was late in the night at this new club. I really wasn't thinking, so I just gave him the sympathy 2nd. But like, hey, just dash this, But yeah, man, it's sad as well, because like it would be nice to see someone, only 12 amateur fighters, he done something in life in something sport, but it's like it's crazy. And even the amateur, it's all like, what are you gonna understand about someone like Tunde is like they're all scammers. He's from Peckham. He's Yoruba. Like they knew this. They knew what this was like. How can you say to your fighter, "Oh, you're a warrior"? Like, no, you shouldn't. Why are you telling him that? Even someone who's not even aware, who's got ADHD, like I can see that. What kind of advice is that? Oh, you're a warrior. Why are you telling him this? That's not what needs to be told. It's crazy, bro. But they're all money. They've made a lot of money. Like he's the first area level multimillionaire. You will never see that ever again. It's crazy.
That is kind of.
He's making more money than all Alpha Love. It's mental.
I don't know. I think we've already seen another area level millionaire in Conor Benn. He was sitting ringside last night in his boohoo man shorts. Yeah.
Rob, what you got to understand? What you got to understand about Conor Benn? He's got an excuse. He's living off his dad. He's living off his dad's name. It's a bit different. That's easy to sell. It's easy to sell. Same thing with the fake Chavez. He's done what? Same
out the mode in a way.
Even my Corey Spinks, you sometimes you don't even think about Corey Spinks. Oh, his dad beat Muhammad Ali, But with Anthony Yarde, what is it? Oh, he's from Hackney, blah blah blah, etc. But okay, cool.
He's basically,
But hold on, somebody has come in here whose name is Jason Chuckwoo Rival. Let's see what they have to say. Jason Chuckwoo Rival, identify yourself.
I'm here to confront Chuckwoo.
Who's this?
Is this Ames?
Hello.
Why do you make me play these games of guessing? I swear to God. And also,
Jason Chuckwoo Rival is dead because he fell asleep on the post-fight pod the other night. He's the other one.
And then we have someone in here whose name is Japanese British. Hold on. Japanese British, identify yourself.
Hi, my name's Joe. What's up?
Hey, Joe, how are you doing? Did you want to get some say in on the fights?
Yeah, I wanted to give a say on the fight, yeah.
Yeah, well, give me your thoughts. I all in all thought it was a pretty entertaining card. One of the very few cards that I thought maybe the price was too high, but I could see it as a standalone pay-per-view. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed with Anthony Yarde, to be honest. I thought he would do better than that. I thought the game plan was not good. I'm not happy with his trainer, Tunde Ajayi. I think he should have got rid of him after the Sergey Kovalev fight. I think David Benavidez, I've said it before, is there to be hit. If to beat David Benavidez is actually not that hard, you have to actually go inside and just rain down the shots. And if you hit him, you'll see he won't actually hit back. He's very hittable. But I don't understand why people haven't done that. Like, I don't get it.
You have to fight kind of low and in his chest a little bit, and people are way too up and down with them. They let themselves get squared up on the ropes. They fight tall, and he eats them up.
Yeah, you can hit David Benavidez. You can hit him, and they won't, like, his shots are not hard. So I think David Morrell is too muscular, and he's not a natural light heavyweight anyway. So he got tired. So he didn't have the build. But if you can hit him, That's all you have to do because his defense is not that great. He's very hittable. If he can be beat. I don't know what to say. It's just disappointing. Anthony Yarde is not a natural light heavyweight. He's more of a cruiserweight, if I'm being honest. But he's not big enough for cruiserweight, so he has to make light heavyweight. That's the problem with light heavyweights.
Yeah, that 25-pound jump is a lot. It's a real separation because it seems like cruiserweights today are more often than not are heavyweights who actually decide to make a weight. Which is a completely different animal than a light heavyweight. Like Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano against Jai Apataya. People might call me crazy. I think Apataya would beat the shit out of him. I don't know. But what was your so outside of that fight? What were you most impressed by?
To be honest, I was impressed by David Haney's timing. I think David Haney, the reason why he's a good boxer is because he started boxing when he was young, so from 6 years old. So unfortunately, in boxing, when you start when you're 6 years old, you're able to develop a certain timing and spatial awareness in the ring, and spatial awareness and timing that you cannot really train for. So he was able to do that, time the shots, but I was impressed by that. But then, to be fair, the scorecards were way too wide. I thought David Haney. I thought the later rounds. I think Brian Norman won those later rounds because David Haney wasn't landing any punches. He was just holding and landing one or two jabs. So that fight should have been barely a draw, in my opinion. I think Devin Haney won it by just one round. So that showed me.
You think the knockdown would have been the separator ultimately?
Yeah. The knockdown gave him it gave him an extra round or two, but if it wasn't for that knockdown, if let's say he won that round without the knockdown, that fight would have actually been a draw, in my opinion. I'm being honest. That fight would have been a draw, or he maybe won it by a round, like split decision. So that this fight shows me that Devin Haney is not that good. I still don't rate Devin Haney after this fight. He's a disgrace. He's still a coward, in my opinion. All that holding and hugging and barely landing any shots in the later rounds doesn't impress me.
He's just so easy to hate. That's the problem. And I think sometimes when people are easy to hate,
Why do people hate Haney? Why do people hate Haney?
I think he's just
We
kind
spoke
of a
about this. We think
douche.
it's a bit of a package deal,
I think
isn't it? Because Bill Haney is so easy to hate that a lot of the time, and because he's the mouthpiece for Haney.
That's hateful.
Yeah, and because he's the mouthpiece for the camp, normally you kind of level it. But as well as that, it's the imitation Floyd shit. I mean, Norman called him out for it in the build up to it. What did he do last night in the post fight? Well, Brian Norman's a hell of a fighter. He's a great champion. He's a true champion. I'm just going to fight whoever my dad tells me with the little head bop to the side. Like fuck me, he must just fucking study Floyd fucking videos. Like he wants, and Floyd don't even like the fucker. He leaked the footage of the sparring between him and Davis. Like. But just be your own man, Haney. I think if he was his own guy, a lot of people would gravitate to him a lot more. When he started to believe Eddie Herman, Eddie was saying he was the next coming of Floyd Mayweather. That was short lived, by the way. When he's not promoting him anymore, he says he's fucking hard to watch and nobody's going to want to tune in for that bullshit. Well, we were telling you that before you signed him.
And it's like
everyone imitates Floyd. Even when I go running in the park. Even when I go run in the park, I'll be like, hard work, easy work. We all imitate Floyd. Every black person, majority of black people, they imitate Floyd. So it's weird. I don't know why, but we just do.
Well, he drew the blueprint. He drew the blueprint on how to make how to make the money. And unfortunately, like when Devin Haney's getting paid, like Floyd, like late top rank, kind of dollars. Like, I guess it all works out. And that's the problem. It's all like negative incentive to be a dickhead, and I don't think Devin's is as bad as his dad, and it's not like Teofimo Lopez and his dad, where like both of them are utterly unlikable jerk offs. It's just the bill kind of ruins everything. But I think our mistake in picking Norman, Rob, is we're focused on that hook of Norman, but we forgot Bill Haney knows hookers.
Y'all forgot I picked Haney.
You
I
did.
know hookers too when I see them.
Yeah, his timing gets him out of trouble. As I said, he's got a timing that you can't train for. Unfortunately, you have to be at least 6 years old to have got that timing. That's why boxing is a cruel sport, because if you don't if you start boxing at 6 years old, I don't care. Like, you have an advantage if you
Yeah.
compared to someone that starts at 15 or even 18.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's fast, fast twitch and just the reactive timing and seeing it. Like you pick up so much on just cues on opponents and knowing what a body motion implies that they're going to do. And that's why it's so important, if you're going to fight a guy like Haney, is you've got to feint him. He's going to be moving around a lot. You've got to use foot feints to disrupt that movement, make him question himself. You've got to use hand feints to try to keep his hands at home, and then once he second guesses on all that, you pull the trigger, and it's
Well, he
tough to
lost to
fight a guy like that.
Lomachenko. He definitely lost to Lomachenko 100%. The AI software showed that he completely lost that fight. He also lost to Ryan Garcia. Fair enough, it's a no contest, but those two fights show you how to beat him. He doesn't like someone that has a long reach and a fast left hook, and then someone that's a southpaw that feints and has good IQ. That's how you beat him.
Well, God, I tell you what killed me about that fight against Ryan Garcia is just how terrible Garcia's footwork was, how square he got himself on the ropes. Like, he did so much wrong in that ring, but he did 2 or 3 things that absolutely threw Haney off. I mean, but the way he moved around the ring, he looked like a guy who was just starting out in the amateurs, and yet there he was dropping Haney on his ass multiple times.
Well, he was on some type of, I'm not gonna say,
Osterine, I think it was, or something like that.
I don't think, because I've used Osterine 12 times, and Osterine doesn't actually increase your speed. It increases like your power and strength, but it doesn't make you faster. He was on something else that I know what he is on. I'm not going to mention what he was on because that's a secret, but he was on something that actually increases your increases the speed of your punches. Conor Ben used it as well. If you look at Conor Ben's fight, look how fast his hook was in the Van Herden fight and the Chris Algieri fight. That you have to be on PEDs to be able to do that.
Yeah, Algieri hates Conor Ben. He hates him so much because he feels in his gut that he had to have been on something. I mean, this is a dude who has been in with Pacquiao, got put on his ass multiple times, and he's like, there's something up with this guy. He shouldn't be punching this hard. He shouldn't be that fast. And but
Conor Ben was on PEDs against Chris Eubank Jr. in the second fight as well.
You think?
Yeah, 100%. I think because it's actually not hard. Because I don't know if you know this. There's a doctor on YouTube that Tyson Fury and a few other boxers used, and this boxer is a PED doctor that helps pass basically tests and sorts all of that out. So I'm just being honest. He's actually got a YouTube channel, and so I think they might have taken down the video. So
The guy died a couple of weeks ago. The Shane Mosley's pet guy. He died a couple of weeks ago.
Conte,
His name Bill. Yeah.
Yep, he's dead.
Everyone's on steroids. Everyone's on steroids, man.
Well, see, I don't know that everyone's on steroids, or on PEDs. Let's just call it broadly. But if I made
Corey Spink was on steroids.
But if I make 2 statements, one being everyone is on PEDs, and this is at the upper echelon levels. And if I made 2 statements, one being everyone is on PEDs or nobody is on PEDs, which one of those is closer to the truth? Everyone is on PEDs, and that's the unfortunate thing. But we are running a little bit late here, but real quick, I'm going to go to both of you before we bounce here. Chuck Woo, do you got anything else you want to get in real quick before I get into my previews?
I don't know, man. It's Jason. It's crazy. He not been butchering my name, but I don't really mind. It's Jason Chukwu, isn't it? But Chukwu sticks, isn't it? So
it does.
Yeah,
Chuck Woo is just one of those names. It sounds kind of cool. Like, if I knew you, I'd just call you Chuck Woo.
Who's fighting next week?
Well, that's what I want to get into, but everybody's in
That age, I met him 3 years ago. You know, I met him with that Melissa girl, the lovely Arabic girl, man. Yeah, in Hackney
Here,
Wick. When I
here,
was
let me do this real quick, and you can get your say in on any one of these cards that you want, but pick one. So this coming week, we have Fraser Clark and TKV, Ben Whitaker and Benjamin Gavazi, Pro Box card with Jesse Magdaleno and Muhammad Kuja Yakubov, a DAZN card with Julio Luna and Dante Jardone. I don't know any of those guys off the top of my head. A DAZN card from the Netherlands with Greatest Kraust and Rostam Ibrahim. A Triller card with Francis Lafreniere and versus Francine Natitu. Elijah Pierce and Lorenzo Pera on a card from Temecula. And then a week from today, a guy I'm actually pretty high on, Konstantin Ursu, is fighting against Ryan Amos. That's what we have this week. Nothing big, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, probably the one I'm interested in most, probably Clark TKV, because it's closer to my weight class, and it Cruz heavyweight, in it. But it's probably that it's a must win for Fraser Clark. He'll probably be the favorite. Probably is it a 12 round or is it a round?
I don't know if that's a 10 or a 12 rounder. If the Commonwealth's on the line, it would have to be 12.
Yeah, no, because when Itama fought White, that was Commonwealth, but that was a 10 rounder. Was it 12?
The English title is still 10 rounders. And the Commonwealth is 12. Let's see here.
Clark the favorite, man.
Yeah, no, he's a pretty big favorite actually in this one. I think you can get about 3-1 on TKV, and honestly, I think that might be being a little friendly to him, honestly.
So Wardley beat Clark, and he beat Adelaide, who beat TKV in it. So yeah, man, these are the sort of fights. Can I just say? I know, like, it's a bit obviously going back to Yarde again. Why? I think Yarde was always going to lose it, but like if he had fought someone at least British level, it would have had him in good stead. But like I think his whole career, like since he's been with Frank Warren, the whole plan was like let's just like finesse our way to a world title fight, and hopefully, you know, like obviously he's a multi-millionaire. Like, well, you just wonder, like, is it worth it though? You know, it probably is. You know, but I'd go in there as well, even you know I haven't sparred in like 6 years, but like I don't know, like, you know. Because it's kind of embarrassing in a way, but that's life, you know. We've all got embarrassing stuff, you know. And he's a millionaire, so without being area level, so it's crazy. It's crazy. He's made more money than John Ryder and Olaf Alabi. It's mental, crazy. When you think about it, it's mental.
Come on, not area level.
That's a hell of a name to bring up, Olaf Alabi.
He's not British level. Come on, how's he British level? Who's he beating at British level? Really?
I never said.
Really?
Never said British level, but he's beating Lyndon Arthur.
Lyndon Arthur was IBO champion. He was light heavyweight champion. He was IBO, so he beat a world champion.
Come on, IBO. Is this what we're doing? IBO? Is it? Come on.
No, but come on.
That's like
he did beat a world champion.
Lyndon Arthur? What level do you put Lyndon Arthur, Jason?
Lyndon Arthur.
175.
You lot are selling that fucking Lyndon Arthur 4 fight here fucking perfectly.
Do you think Lyndon Arthur would beat Ben Whitaker?
No.
Is Ben Whitaker light heavyweight?
Yeah.
No, he wouldn't right now. No way. Lyndon Arthur, would you think he'll beat Craig Richards? Would he beat Shaq and Pete? Like, come on, let's logic. Would he beat Dan Aziz? We don't know.
Yeah,
Lyndon Arthur's a good fight, but that's it. That's it though. And the thing is, the first one he lost. I haven't seen the second one. I know Yarde won a KO. Some people say Arthur should have won the third fight with Yarde. So like, what are we saying here? What's the barometer? You know, what about the guy that Yarde fought before Arthur? Before the cab drive.
I know you're out the loop and all, but
it went 12 rounds with Dimitri.
How did we get
went 12 rounds with Dimitri Bivol? He gave Dimitri Bivol a good fight. Dimitri Bivol couldn't even knock out Lyndon Arthur. He even said he was dangerous.
But Craig Richards gave Bivol a good fight as well. So, you know.
I think his styles make fight. Bivol ain't really got that KO power like that. He's not really a big light heavyweight. He's more like a super middleweight, Dimitri Bivol.
Yeah, he always said he could make it if the terms were right. But anyways,
I'm
the
here to
the the,
confront
the
Jason.
previews, Chuck Wu, you
I'm
went
here to
back in
confront
time.
Jason. I'm here to confront Jason.
So
No, what's Ames got to say? What's he here to confront about?
Jason, where you been? Where you been hiding?
Where have I been? When am I hiding? I'm always hiding. It's just my nature to hide. I'm just always.
We
My
need
condition. I'm always hiding.
We need the triple chow hour.
No, it'll be too much. I can't do that. It's not good. We don't, I don't want the asylum to get cancelled, man. If I go off, it's bad. Let's not do that.
Are you still wearing the face mask?
I still have it. I still have it in my room. If you actually look, right, it's actually right here. If you can see it, I still have it.
what the fuck is going on here?
It's all when I go. It's all when I go in the toilet. Toilet smell. I just put it on. After smell the bad smell. So that's the reason I still keep it around.
You put it on.
Anthony Yarde should be a world champion already. That's just so unfortunate.
Come on. What are we doing here? Yarde is area level. Let's be honest.
I gotta get on.
Let's be honest.
I gotta get on with my previews.
He has talent. This is the thing. Yarde had talent though. If he when he lost to Sergey Kovalev, if they changed his trainer,
what does that mean? What does that mean? I could have been a footballer.
He had natural potential, because if they changed his trainer from the age of 28 when he lost to Sergey Kovalev, I think he would have won a belt by now. I'll be honest. I think he would be WBC.
Even if you get Manny Stewart from the grave, Yarde wouldn't have done. Yarde's not. Come on, get it real.
But now he can't make the weight, because I don't know if you watched that fight. Like, obviously you watched it. He looked big in there. Like, he looked massive in there. There's no way he can make light heavyweight anymore. That's not a light heavyweight. That's more like a cruiserweight. He's not. He's too big for light heavyweight.
Yeah, he's a bodybuilder.
Yeah. I mean, he's not pumped up. He's not a pumped up light heavyweight, because he was ripped in there. He is cutting down to make light heavyweight, but unfortunately, because of how his build is, he's just way too muscular. He's like got that strong, fast twitch muscle fiber build. It's not really conducive.
I can't remember the Cockney guy on it. I can't remember his name. Even he was saying it. Like, if they believed in Yarde, why didn't he fight all these guys at British level? They would have put him up the right way if they were confident in him. They knew what they were doing. It's been a finesse, and the public has fell for it. This is the biggest finesse in the past 30 years of boxing. You'll never see anything like this.
But they did the same thing to Anthony Joshua, though, right?
No, it's not. Joshua had at least decent talent. Don't compare Yarde to Joshua. What do you mean? The only similarity is they're both Anthony. It's not the same. No way. You must be smoking spinach.
I think we've had our fun with fucking Anthony Yarde for tonight. Like, fucking hell, man. It was bad enough having to watch the fight. Let's leave it there. We fucking move to next week. Jesus.
Okay. Joshua PR. Are you taking the piss? Joshua at British level, he was flying. He was flying.
Anyhow,
that's disrespect.
We need to
But
get
Yarde needs this trash. Yarde.
We need to get to our previews. So, Chuck Wood, thank you. We got your Fraser Clark TKV, and I think we appreciate your patronage as usual. Joe,
I've waffled enough, man. No more.
Joe, what are those fights that I talked about to most interest you coming up this next week?
I'll probably say Fraser Clark. I need to get back in the loop. My mind's all over the place. So I need to see, but definitely the Fraser Clark one, probably number one. But my mind's all over the place. I need to see what's going on.
I can tell,
because ever since Hearns left Sky, I've just been out the loop in boxing in the UK. I'm just out the loop. I'm not even really watching. When Hearn was there, a week after it expires, I'll still go on Sky Go, but I'm just out the loop, innit? I only saw React Paul Matthew live last year, and I was working at that fight. I had a shift there. Where D White wanted to punch him in the face. Long story, but only saw that for the first time last year, and I had that on my Skybox for 5 years. So, I'm out the loop, but I've waffled enough. It's enough. What happened too much.
All right.
D White wanted to punch him in the face. What happened is, it was at the end of the card. Everyone was leaving your call, and he said to me, "Oh, look at your hair, like you're going Afro." And then he said it again, and I was like, "Bro, you're not funny." And you want to punch him in the face, and everyone separated. It's weird. He's a big dude. He's like a Brixton Shook Knight, Poundland Shook Knight. But I probably wouldn't say this in his face. But the thing is, I've seen him since then, and it's all he doesn't even remember that. But it's life, isn't it? So, yeah, I've waffled enough. Man.
All right. Hey, well, thanks for coming on, Chuck Wu. We got to move on here.
Jason Chukwu, Jason Chukwu.
See you next week,
Yeah,
Chuckoo. Get
Jason,
on
Like,
Chuckoo
like
next
Mo
week.
Farah, like
the
Muslim
one,
Muhammad.
the
Jason
only
Chukwu.
Jason Chukwu. Joe,
Like Mo Farah, what?
Just like Mo Farah.
Joe left. Okay.
Mo Farah, Mohammed Farah, Jason
All right.
Chukwu.
All right. Bye, Chuck Wu. Have a good one, dude. All right.
Just like Mo
Jesus
Farah.
Christ and all that's good and holy. That was an adventure. And then Joe went ahead and left before I can even before he answered him. What
Can we break down the yard fight a little bit more before we move on to the brief? I think Rob wanted to hit a few more points before we move on.
The only thing I would say, look at
Go ahead, Rob.
the only thing I would say having anything to do with Yard, honestly, Ames, is I could see them feeding him to Ben Whitaker, who is fighting this week. Do you know much about his opponent?
No, nothing about Gabatsi, to be honest with you. I think essentially the MO for this matchroom debut is to try and get those highlight reels like they did with Boxer, where he's doing the flashy moves and dodges and dancing around the ring so they can have that in their locker. I think it's a soft launch into Matchroom and Ben Whitaker as they try to maneuver his career. I think they're slowing him down as much as they want to talk about how he's going to have 2-3 fights before he gets to world level. This is he needs to be slowed down. And fellas of this sort of level, we can keep kind of biding his time as things play out, because at light heavyweight, whether you're talking about Yarde, whether you're talking about Whitaker, Callum Smith, it's still a bit of a long shot, less so for Callum, but a bit of a long shot if you pitch them in with Beterbiev or Bivol. So lots of time to wait out until they've done their careers, and then you can make an assault for a world title. So Whitaker needs that time to develop, and Matchroom will take him out that sort of pace. So I don't think it's really particularly about the opponent. It's more just about trying to solidify Ben Whitaker as well in Birmingham. You know, they had your fight in Birmingham. I wouldn't particularly say those events sold out, but Whitaker does have that potential. So yeah, couple that in the mix with Eddie Hearn, and you might be able to start the regrowth of Birmingham as more of a fight city that you tap into more than once or twice a year. So that's about it for that. Just look out as well for Spider Solomon as well too, because Spider's a good fighter. I think he's going in for a title as well. So yeah, keep an eye on Spider because he's greater, and he's a good watch as well.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see here. What else we got?
Cool. So, what did you guys say?
What?
You fall asleep? Do you fall asleep, Ames?
Who? When? What do you say?
I don't even know anymore.
I was remarking that you sound particularly low key tonight, Ames. Everything okay, dog? Are you with us still?
I'm in my...
Right, well, this is fucking descending into complete madness in the last fucking 15 minutes.
I think you're getting text or something at the same time, and it's cutting you off.
Yeah. No. I'm in Miami.
You are?
Ooh.
Yeah. I was there for the Jake Paul press conference. So
Jesus Christ!
Pretty shattered, yeah.
It's just the second call in from a panelist from Miami, living up to the great Rob Kelly.
So I thought he was going to say. I thought Ames was going to say he was reporting on the latest iteration of David Hayes' triple.
They've been spotted on the beach in some sort of a triangle oral setup. Back to
7-Eleven on Collins Avenue, Ames. Trust me. Get in there in the morning. Great spot.
I nearly got mugged in Miami the other day.
So
bad place.
Let's see. I'm trying to think anything else going on. I like that Pro Box card. I wish it was on Friday instead of Saturday. Magdaleno still seems to have a bit to him. Yakubov, interesting prospect. But yeah, there's plenty of stuff to watch. But just I think, did we lose Ames? We lost Ames. We've lost Dez. I don't know what's going on.
You lost me already.
We lost poor Joel. Joel was about to answer a question. Choco answered it for him, and then he fucking left. God help me.
I don't know what's going on.
He's only here for a few minutes. Oh,
there's just plenty of stuff going on, but just nothing big. You guys have anything to say about the upcoming schedule? Anything on your mind?
Subriel Mateos popping
Oh
positive.
yeah. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, it's who the hell did he beat just a handful of months ago?
Can't even remember.
Well, I think it's probably more pressing that he fucking killed someone. Poor Dad
Exactly.
in the fucking ring. Like if it's
that was so many
enough.
years ago, though. So many years ago.
Was it
Yeah, but there was a drop off from him. Remember, he was on a hot streak, and then Paro fucking beat us, and everyone was wondering what the fuck happened. Like,
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
and I think who did he lose? Did he after the Dadashev fight? He lost to someone who subsequently beat. No, but he Mateos lost to someone after the Dadashev fight. It wasn't Paro. It was well before the Paro fight.
An onion.
Yes, and then he avenged that loss. But Steve, I remember Steve talking about, it was like a sort of psychological drop off that he had after the Dadashev fight. Now it's possible that it could have been a physical drop off through, coming off whatever he was on, but it's also possible that it was sort of like a momentary invasion of guilt at knowing that he was what he was on when he fought Dadashev. And then that may have been responsible for being lackluster against an onion, and then before ridding his mind of any guilt and beating him in the rematch. So who knows? Only he knows himself. But he's been. I mean, it's just. I mean, who's surprised anymore? Rob's been sort of consistently cynical about this for years, and it took me a while to be as cynical as Rob, but it's hard not to be now.
Well, it takes a lot of work.
Experience.
Yeah, it's just you expect to be disappointed with the sport these days. That Matthias one was that made me feel a little bit sick when I read that, because I immediately thought of Dadashev and thought to myself, all right, you can't automatically assume that he's popping. But I think like what Maddie said earlier is right. Like I think probably everyone's on it. If they're not on that, they're on the snack. What's the fucking difference? Like, I mean, it's all performance enhancing. Some of it's allowed, some of it isn't. Like, it's just anyone who's not popping is probably doing some shit that's enhancing their performance, like beyond fucking the natural and normal levels. Like,
and again, I'll make the argument that they should just be making it all about specific levels, and however you get up to that level and choose to touch that.
I think that's
bar,
in play, Matty, isn't it? Like, I think that's in play with Snack, because you look at Devin Haney, like he's gone up to 147. He hasn't knocked anybody out in years, and then last night he's cracking guys up the weight, dropping them since he's only been with Snack not so long. I think maybe for the last since the Garcia defeat, hasn't he?
He dropped Prograis too, though.
Since the Garcia defeat, wasn't it?
You're saying Haney got a snack from heaven last night?
Well, I mean, there's still people running that know the program over there. It's still a company and a business.
Yeah, I looked at him in the way, and I remarked on it on the pod. I thought the physique of this guy a couple of weeks out from the fight was nothing like I've seen in the welterweight division in 40 years of watching it. He was in commando fucking predator levels of fucking Carl Weathers and fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger levels of sinews busting out of his fucking arms. Yeah, I don't know. Fucking, I think we're at that stage already where it's fucking practically acceptable, isn't it? Like,
yeah, and also mentioning in here that Joseph Parker has also failed the drug test, but his was for cocaine, which is that's way cooler.
I'm in love with the cocoa.
It's just freaking, it's just rampant, and you wonder. It does bring about all these questions, but at the end of the day, like, when people talk about, Floyd and his therapeutic use things that happen, and they talk about Manny and his fear of needles and when it came to blood tests and all that shit when he's covered in tattoos, like, at the end of the day, what was Mayweather versus Pacquiao? Well, if you think it was one guy who was juiced against one guy who wasn't, well, you're half right. I mean, that's.
Oh, you didn't see the fucking weigh-in. Did you see that's another one. Did you see the weigh-in for the two of them? They were like two fucking real-life G.I. Joe dolls on the fucking scales, the two of them. Like, Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, just whoa. I don't know, man. And it's
something you have to accept. That's what. If you don't accept it, then don't watch boxing because you have to. We know what it is. There's just no point of. We all know what it is.
well, that's the thing. And Tom, the only advice I could give to you is just accept the sport is full of crooks and monsters. The decisions are often going to be absolutely terrible. Questionable calls will happen around every corner. Favoritism will be shown to people who don't deserve it. But that's just
Probably a few
fucking
rapists and wife
boxing.
beaters in there as well. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. And sometimes those wife beaters go to jail and they get raped. It's the circle of life. Why do we say, well, that's going to get this episode canned by YouTube? Damn it, that
We're already on
stupid
the way up.
word. The grapists. So, but anyhow, it is a stupid sport, but like, then you watch Sam Noakes versus Abdullah Mason, where there was basically like nothing that you could complain about throughout the whole night, and you're like, oh yeah, that's why I watch boxing.
Hey, Matt,
Didn't
you say we had some previews coming up about an hour and a half ago?
No, I looked at it and I'm like, that's the preview. These fights are happening.
Oh, hey, I'm good with that. Then I have no thoughts on the preview. Then
that's what we have. There's nothing really big going on there, and I think the only thing like worth discussing is who fights who after.
I think you summed it up. There's a shit ton of fights, but nothing really.
Yeah,
your skirt up.
Yeah. Check your boxing schedule. Like it's plenty to see, and I assume some of those people will be on performance enhancing drugs. It's just what it is. I'm
not working for Fraser Clark then if he's on this side note.
Let me say we'll use this as a little 5-minute closeout here. I'm gonna make an argument here. The last fighter who was pound for pound, who I am about positive was not on PEDs, was Sergio Martinez.
I was going to say Sugar Ray Robinson.
And you're not talking about the one that fought Marciano, aren't you? Not.
Oh, when the guys were talking earlier about Gervonta's being on the receiving end of some criminal complaints from his other half, I just for some reason I thought of Jin Mosley. I don't know why, but I just remember. Rob, do you remember Jin Mosley?
I do, Dominic, and I'm kind of scared where you're going with this because I feel like you're. I feel like you're saying like if anybody deserves to be on the end of something, it might have been Jim Mosley. You know that way. But
I would never. The thought would never cross my mind.
Poor Shane's a lover boy, man. He's not built like that. Shane Mosley, for all his faults, he's definitely not a woman beater. He's a lover. Not a
He absolutely. But here, do you remember? He hooked up with this. He hooked up with this lovely woman after up
on Mosley's love life. I remember.
And here, do you remember when he did this tour? Mosley, he came over to the UK. This was about 2014. In fact, yeah, it was when Frampton was still with the McGuigans, and he went to the McGuigans gym in Battersea, and he did a bit of. He moved around. He was trying to find sparring all over the UK, and no one would spar him. So he said, and he moved about for a couple of rounds with Frampton, and he had this woman with him who was in the gym and all. But apparently the story went that she did the same thing as Jin. 18 months later, the story was going around that she did the exact same thing. So he had no luck, the poor fella. It wouldn't happen to Carl Frotch.
What happened to Evander Holyfield? It's happened to a lot of fellas. Some fellas have kryptonite, and that's what it is. You know what I mean? Remember he wrote it. Remember one Bellew of the Week, where classic Bellew of the Week. I don't know if anybody remembers this. It could have been COVID times or maybe just before. Where his love interest at the time, he wrote a big love poem to her on Insta. Do you remember that? And
I remember
read it out. That was a great time. He used to follow me on Twitter, Shane Mosley, and I asked him to come on the pod, and then I wondered did he listen to us, and then he unfollowed me. Maybe he thought I was R. Kelly. But it didn't last long. It was grand opening, grand closing in between me and Sugar Shane. I tried to get him on the pod. I did my best.
Well, we appreciate the effort. It's sad that he's like, oh, they want something.
What would he have thought of fucking Anthony Ad's level? I wonder.
Shut the fuck up, Rob. Anyhow, yeah, I think that's about all we have. We'll close it out with the drug cheats. So there you go. But it's been a fun week. We've had Justin, Dez, Dom, Rob Kelly. We had Jason Chuckwoo and a man who knows PEDs in boxing and only goes by Joe. It's a shady figure. It'll be interesting. We'd like to hear more from Joe in the future because who knows? Maybe he does know some things. Get to the bottom of this shit. But anyhow, we'll see you folks next week. We'll talk some more boxing. We'll maybe one of these fights that we alluded to in the last 25 minutes will be entertaining and it'll give us cause to talk about something. But if it's a Sunday, it's Boxing Asylum. We'll see you folks next week.